reportedly saying there was no classified information on the Signal text thread where specific plans for a U.S. attack in Yemen were discussed.
There was no classified information, as I understand it.
Nobody's texting war plans.
There was no intelligence information.
The Atlantic editor-in-chief Jeffrey Goldberg, the journalist added to the chat by National Security Advisor Mike Waltz, released a transcript of the text messages.
Oh yeah, by the way, this is the same Atlantic person who has been at the throat of Obama, Trump, has been playing hooky for Biden. Right? This guy is a fuckhead.
That showed Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth.
So I don't know why he somehow got on the list. I don't know how he got
detailing military plans. In one text, Hegseth gives a timeline of the attack and details which fighter jets would be used. The Pentagon's own definition of what is classified includes disclosure of significant military plans or intelligence operations. Goldberg said after the administration's denials, it was time to let the public see the text for themselves.
What are they arguing, that an attack is different than a war? They put operational details of a forthcoming attack on a terrorist organization into Signal, into a Signal chat that included phone numbers that they didn't recognize.
Two top national security officials who were also on the text thread in the hot seat for a second.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. How did they do? What the fuck did they do?
Conversation was candid.
What was going on through their minds to do that?
But as the President National Security Advisor stated, no classified information was shared.
Democrats demanding answers and firings.
No acceptance of responsibility. Excuse after excuse after excuse. Secretary Hegseth,
I don't think anybody's gonna get fired for this.
Undoubtedly transmitted classified, sensitive operational information via this chain, must resign immediately.
Republicans now weighing in. Congressman Don Bacon telling NBC News, quote, the White House is in denial that this was not classified or sensitive data. They should just own up to it and preserve credibility.
Oh, that's funny, because when Biden and his administration were running the game, they didn't fire anybody.
And this afternoon, Senator Roger Wicker, the chair of the Armed Services Committee, saying the information was so sensitive,
I would have wanted it classified.
And he and Democrat Jack Reed are asking the Trump administration to expedite an inspector general report into the controversial group chat.
And while lawmakers here on Capitol Hill demand accountability, it is important to note that Michael Waltz, who is the National Security Advisor, said in an interview that he takes full responsibility for adding Jeffrey Goldberg, the Atlantic's full interview. The advisor said in an interview, who is the National Security. It is important to note that Michael.
Oh, apparently Michael Waltz was the one who added him into it.
Or have his number. In Washington, Julie Sirkin, NBC News.
Well, I mean, we don't know to what effect he. I don't even know if he added his number. I don't even know how his number got in there. Yeah.
Trump administration now trying to downplay tonight a civilian added to a text chat among national security officials, a chat about bombing another country.
Well, I mean, it wasn't just any civilian. It was a journalist who's always at the throat of fucking Trump and his administration. Even back in fucking 8 years ago. Back in 2016.
This as the journalist for The Atlantic released details on those messages he received. Eyewitness News anchor Mike Marzer is here with today's developments. Mike?
Well, Sade and Bill, we're getting a fuller text chain revealed today. The specific operational information just 2 hours before the U.S. launched those attacks against Houthi rebels in Yemen back in March. The text included the exact...
Back in March. Okay, so it was a text that it was already done. Right, we solved the attack and everything. Fucking destroyed.
Timing of the attack. And Democrats argued today that could have put troops in danger.
Hey, what do you mean?
In the newly published Atlantic article titled "Here Are the Attack Plans" that Trump's advisors shared on Signal, editor-in-chief Jeffrey Goldberg says Defense Secretary Hegseth texted a planned timeline for flights of F-18 fighter jets, MQ-9 Reaper drones, and Tomahawk cruise missiles that were launched for the mission. The White House says it wasn't classified information.
Okay, we already know about all this.
We have said all along that no.
I mean, to be frank, we already know the U.S. has drones. We already know the U.S. has jets. We already know the U.S. has, what was the last thing? The fucking Tomahawks? Those are already known armaments that fucking the U.S. uses. So it's like, the fact that nobody knows that these are already the armaments used in the U.S. already, I don't know what the fuck you're doing in your own fucking country that you don't know the own armaments.
Find information.
We have said all along that no classified material was sent on this messaging thread. There were no locations, no sources or methods revealed, and there were certainly no war plans discussed.
The White House press secretary tried to fend off question after question during a combative White House briefing, calling the story a hoax.
The mainstream media continues to be focused on a...
Yeah, honestly, I feel like they're just blowing this out of proportion just because it came from one of the posing faction journalists. It is strange how one of the posing faction journalists got on their fucking call list.
Sensationalized story from the failing Atlantic magazine that is falling apart by the hour.
Top security officials returned to Capitol Hill today in front of the House Intelligence Committee.
Everyone here knows that the Russians or the Chinese could have gotten all of that information, and they could have passed it on to the Houthis.
It's still unclear.
But they could have passed it along to the Houthis, but it was already... What? See, don't get me wrong. It is strange how the one person got on there. But at the same time, it's like it already happened. Like the Houthi attack, that happened in the past. Right? We already saw... That happened, what, last week? Not too long ago, right? So it's like, what... Why does it matter? Don't get me wrong, they should probably tighten up their security and fucking probably not be texting that shit.
Why the national security team was even communicating on the messaging app Signal.
Ideally, these conversations occur in person. However, at times, fast-moving coordination of an unclassified nature is necessary, where in-person conversation is not an option.
Secretary of State Rubio confirmed.
I feel like they could have just given a phone call real quick or something instead of text.
None of the information that was on there, though not intended to be divulged, obviously that was a mistake and that shouldn't have happened.
I don't know. I feel like there's
but none of the information on there at any
point
do
all this
threatened the operation of the lives of our servicemen.
What do you want,
the National Security Advisor Mike
scooper?
Waltz says that he is responsible for building that text chain. Waltz says he doesn't know how the Atlantic reporter got included, claiming his number got, quote, sucked into his phone. Democrats are calling for a full investigation.
Today, we are playing Monster Hunter today.
Top Senate
I don't
Democrats
fucking know.
To President Trump and Secretary Hegseth.
You just sound like a fucking
demanding
liar.
they release the full, unredacted transcript of all texts in their Signal chats.
The Atlantic reporter Jeffrey Goldberg said late today that he has in fact
Also,
met
why don't
Mike
you
Waltz
actually,
before,
like,
and they
look
have
up
each
the
other's
game
phone
before you
numbers.
be
The president
retarded,
has
huh?
suggested that Elon Musk would help look into the technical side of who is included on that group chat. But guys, tonight it is still unclear what level of information was shared in this Signal text chain. Was it classified? Was it not? Two parallel things that people are looking into tonight.
Oh, there you have it. Oh.
This is utterly unprofessional.
Oh yeah, this is the one I saw. Excellent, a good start. Good job, Pete. Yeah, so it's like So this is the only text message that we got, by the way, I think.
There's been
So it's kind of like, okay, there's obviously Michael Waltz, but they don't know this is Michael Waltz because on their, I guess on their list, it doesn't say Michael Waltz. So yeah, it's, I don't know.
professional. There's been no apology. There has been no recognition of the gravity of this error.
Strong words from Georgia Senator Jon Ossoff after a magazine editor was included in a group chat with top Trump administration officials who were discussing overseas airstrike plans. Some in Congress say they want an investigation. Erica Brown reports from Capitol Hill.
The heads of the Senate Armed Services Committee are asking the White House for an Inspector General investigation into use of the messaging app Signal for a group chat about a highly sensitive military operation.
We are working and exchanging papers right now.
The White House denies any classified information was discussed in the chat that inadvertently included The Atlantic's editor-in-chief. But Wednesday, the magazine published more excerpts showing detailed information about the strikes on Houthi rebels in.
So I'm guessing this is what that was. This was the information that was given off, is what I'm guessing. That's why everyone's all freaking out, even though we saw this like a week ago. Well, then again, I don't even know people saw this a week ago because this was on the news.
Yemen, including launch times.
What the Atlantic released today is confounding and extremely disturbing to any American who worries about our national security and our safety.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth said nobody was texting war plans.
There's no units, no locations, no routes, no flight paths, no sources, no methods, no classified information.
Two top intelligence officials who were part of the chat were back on Capitol Hill Wednesday, this time facing House lawmakers asking about what was disclosed.
The conversation was candid and sensitive.
Also, this is a military operation. Why do these people care?
As the President National Security Advisor stated,
this is a
no
military
classified
operation. Why do these people fucking care?
There were no sources, methods, locations, or war plans.
They never
that
cared
were
before.
shared.
Now they
Democrats
care.
are pushing
oh my
back.
gosh.
I think they intentionally misled Congress into trying to.
What about the whole
this was some
Afghanistan
casual
thing? Oh my God!
conversation.
I
This
guess
is a
they
war
didn't care
plan,
enough
and
then.
American lives
Fucking
are at risk.
assholes.
Lawmakers are now seeking a classified briefing with White House officials about the leaks.
A nonprofit group called American Oversight filed a lawsuit alleging the use of the Signal app violates federal laws governing the preservation of government records.
Growing fallout after war plans mistake.
And now to the growing fallout over those text messages between President Donald Trump's national security team. The Atlantic today reporting Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth sent messages that included the timing.
It seems
for when
like all the
fighter
news
jets would take
outlets
off
are
and when bombs would
basically
drop
saying.
in Yemen earlier this month.
I mean, don't get me
ABC's Perry
wrong.
Russum has the latest from Washington.
National security
The Atlantic
risk.
today publishing what their editor-in-chief
Sure,
Jeffrey Goldberg says was sent to
because
President
if
Trump's
one
national
civilian
security
can
team
get
and
in and
inadvertently
see
him
the
in a
chats
group chat
between
ahead of
like
airstrikes in Yemen
officials,
earlier this month.
it's like
The
kind of
Atlantic
bad.
reports Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth sent exact times for when F-18 fighter jets and drones would launch, timing of their strike window, when the first bombs would drop, and when Tomahawk missiles would be launched.
This is clearly taken from classified information about the order of battle in an ongoing operation. So next to covert operations or nuclear operations, this is the most sensitive.
This is the most sensitive information because it had a military operation that happened last week and it killed Houthi terrorists. What are we doing here?
information that the U.S.
Oh my
possesses.
God.
The White House today again calling the story a hoax.
We have said all along that no classified material was sent on this messaging thread.
To me, I feel like this has no part in fucking politics because this is a military out. This has nothing to do with us. I mean, if people were soldiers, sure, be my guess, but these people aren't soldiers. Tell them to shut the fuck up.
There were no locations, no sources, or methods revealed, and there were certainly no war plans discussed.
Democrats on Capitol Hill outraged.
I mean, I guess you can say Carolyn Levitt kind of did that in her press conference, but at the same time,
that the Russians
people
or the
want to
Chinese
make
could
right.
have gotten all of that information, and they could have passed it on to
People
the Houthis.
want to make
is the
big
highest
deal.
level of incompetence. In my view, Walton Hegseth should go.
Questions remain over why Trump's national security team was communicating
He was
on
the one
Signal,
that
an
he was
encrypted
one of the
messaging
guys
app
that
the
didn't want
Pentagon found in
Hegseth to begin
2021
with.
to be an unauthorized means of communicating sensitive information.
Ideally, these conversations occur in person. However, at times, fast-moving coordination of an unclassified nature is necessary, where in-person conversation is not an option.
There has been inconsistent messaging from the administration on how Goldberg was added to the group chat. Trump on Newsmax last night.
Somebody that was with Mike Waltz, worked for Mike Waltz at a lower level, had, I guess, Goldberg's number.
National Security Advisor Mike Waltz on Fox News.
A staffer wasn't responsible, and look, I take full responsibility. I built the...
So someone gave his number to Mark Waltz,
I built the
or
group.
Michael Waltz.
Waltz says he does not know how Goldberg's number was on his phone, telling Fox News the phone.
Yeah, but if he got his number, why didn't he check the number? If he didn't know what whose number, why didn't he check?
Number was sucked into his phone. Goldberg late today says the two have met before and they have each other's numbers. Perry Russum, ABC News, Washington.
Prior to the release of the full transcript, Virginia Senator Mark Warner questioned officials about the contents of the chat during a hearing yesterday. Today, he labeled the incident a complete and royal screw-up and called for the Secretary of Defense to step down. Senator Tim Kaine echoed a similar sentiment.
Damn, they want him to step down
President
so
Trump,
bad.
You've got a guy
Holy
who's
shit.
doing one of the most important jobs in this country or in the world, who has demonstrated before this instance, but particularly in this instance, that he's not up to the job. You shouldn't be afraid to use those words, "You're fired," right now and find a better Secretary of Defense.
These are detailed battle plans.
There was already so many people who didn't want him to be Secretary of Defense.
And resign.
Coming up at 5, Senators Kaine and Warner explain how this incident could impact people here in
all the
Hampton Roads.
people are coming out. Yeah, dude, every mainstream, everyone's doing it. Oh, they did a bad thing. The gross incompetence. He should be fired. He should step down.
Another day has passed. Do you
Well, actually, it was the night before the hearing.
now that another day has passed, do you believe that it's now time potentially for the FBI to open an investigation into this?
I'm not going to comment on that.
Wait, who's he talking to?
Because you're the director of the FBI, you don't believe it's appropriate to comment on that?
Because there's a process in place, there's an ongoing litigation, and the National Security Council is reviewing this matter. And I'm not going to discuss any open or closed
That
investigations.
ongoing investigation, literally, the lawsuit happened today or yesterday afternoon, and the idea that you don't have an opinion on this at this point is frustrating to me.
No, it's not. I'm not
final
going to
question,
prejudge
reclaiming
any
my
matters.
time, my
The men
final
and women of the
question,
FBI
reclaiming my
will
time, reclaiming
call
my
the
time,
balls and strikes.
reclaiming my time,
Not
sir.
you.
Sir, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to have...
Gentlewoman's recognized. You have
Thank
4
you.
seconds remaining.
No, I have more than
You
that
have 2
because
seconds
Mr.
remaining.
Patel would not answer.
Gentlewoman's time has expired. Mr. Stubbe.
No, sorry, your time was up. Instead of bitching and moaning like a fucking old hag you are, why don't you fucking croak?
Australia.
I'm sorry. I'm tired of these fucking people. They should just find a nice hole and just lay in it for the rest of their life. Just listen to what Chuck Schumer says about the economy.
Consumer confidence has dropped for the 4th straight month.
Oh, really? How so? Are you looking? He's probably thinking of the stock market.
And it didn't just drop. It's now at the lowest levels since January of 2021.
I like how these guys talk about things in such a matter of fact without giving any fucking sources. That really fucking annoys me because I have to do it all the time for school. So why the fuck do these people do not fucking do it at all? Fuck you asshats. Fuck all of you people, by the way. I hope you all fucking burn in hell.
But what was the reason? What was the reason? What was the reason?
Donald Trump's disastrous policies are starting to catch up with him. The economic chickens are coming home to roost.
Okay.
And I fear this is just the beginning.
Like every time I hear all these fucking people speak, they have no fucking source to back it up. Oh, I'm just gonna pull it out my fucking ass. Fucking hell, man. Fuck these people. What happened to Brie Larson? Oh, is it? Oh, this was recently the thing that was shown on Disney, because they were like showing, or the Marvel Studios, they were like showing off a bunch of actors' names for some reason. That's Sweeney. Man, 12 anti-Brie Larson videos a day, then she did this and it all just stopped. I mean, people don't, I think people do not like Brie Larson just based on her acting. I think that's the safe assumption, probably. Also, I think she's done some things on the she's on the social medias, right? Sometimes. That's the eyes of a killer. She's okay. She's so giddy about it. Let's see. Rep. Chad Clifford, Democrat, HD37, was watching Netflix on the House floor yesterday during the worst gun ban Colorado has ever seen, banning almost all common use firearms. He voted to ban your guns. Oh, rip Colorado, you got neutered. Colorado got banned. This passed a major gun control bill. Uh-oh, Colorado. Going down the shitter. A bill that would require Coloradoans to undergo additional vetting to buy certain semi-automatic passed by the House Monday. It is now head back to the Senate for final approval before moving to Gov. Jared Polis's desk. Oof. Oh, jeez. Gun control introducing the state legislature by banning and sale management of high-powered guns that accepted detachable ammunition magazines. Oh, rip AR-15s and AK-47s. Yeah, the AR and AK style platforms. Oh, and you can't have the the pistol caliber versions, basically. To win over the government supporting case concerns from a moderate Democrat, an amendment in the Senate now allows Colorado to buy otherwise illegal guns so long as they pass a background check and complete state mandate training regulated by Colorado Parks and Wildlife. Oh wow! So that's what they're doing. They have to. They're making you go through training, basically. Right, there's a barrier to entry. Oh, that's kind of fucking lame. Yeah, basically they're fucking you in the butt. Yeah, by that time you're training for your gun license and to get a gun, oh, you're already fucking stabbed. Sorry, peace. I'm surprised they even got this to pass in Colorado. Holy fuck, man. Colorado's cooked. Uh-oh, what happened to Tim Walz's daughter?
That this is an extremely privileged take to be able to have. But I grew up in the church. I grew up going to church. I'm confirmed. I even worked at a church camp when I was in school. Not like the creepy like colonizer type kind, but like the let's go hiking because the earth and nature and the world around us is amazing and we need to protect it, and there's a greater power that created that whole thing. My mom still goes to church multiple times a week.
You sound like a crazy.
I'm in it. I don't really know where I stand right now, but I'm in it. I know it. And I want to say I sleep okay at night because I know all these people are not going where they think they're going.
Oh yeah, no, everyone's going to hell.
If this isn't already a bad place.
Everyone's going to hell.
And history will show that. So, yeah.
And history will show that. The evidence will show. Large salad. Yes. Yes, sirree. Afghanistan. 13 troops were killed in Afghan, and not a single Biden official was fired. Correct. By the way. That's what I was talking about. Rules for thee, but not for me. Like a chapel or something on the fucking side of the goddamn mountain. The hell? Hillary Clinton. Oh yeah, what about your servers and emails, Hillary? Did you fix that issue? It's the Mona Lisa and Mudang. Look at that. I'm a little Mudang. Grok, is this AI generated? I'm on vacation. Yeah, it's Mudang. Hey. Mona Lisa Mudang. All right. Oh, Greg
You had an
Abbott's gonna
accident
do
at
a talk.
26, and you were jogging, and you had a very severe injury, and yes, you are in a wheelchair. And I've gotten to know you. You're a personal friend of mine. I take it personally when friends of mine are attacked viciously for no reason, and there's no way in hell that this woman and her ex-post is going to convince me she meant anything other than what we all believe it to be. Your reaction?
Well, Sean, is another day and another disaster by the Democrats. The reality is they have no vision, no policy. They have nothing to sell but hate. And Americans are not buying it. It's one reason why Texas is going to remain red and why Republicans are going to continue to win elections across the country. The fact, Sean, is that Texas is actually in direct contrast to what she was talking about. Texas has ranked #1 for the most new jobs in America over the past month, #1 for the most new jobs over the past year, and for several years. Texas ranks #1 for the most new economic development projects for 13 years in a row. CEOs who run businesses
Apparently,
have ranked Texas the
Crockett
best
wants
state
to
for doing
take
business
Greg
for
Abbott's
20
spot.
years in a row. And Texas is in the
Something, I don't
vanguard
even
as
know.
it concerns the future of
But
the United
she's-
States,
she's
such
in
as
the Senate or
space
the House. I don't
exploration,
know why
such
she
as
cares.
artificial intelligence, such as semiconductors, as well as power generation. The bottom line is that Republican states like Texas are leading the way,
Yeah,
and
the House.
with comments like this by Democrats, we will just leave them in the dust in future elections.
Oh, there you have it.
You had an accident at
Texas purged community notes from the Pentagon account that posts about transparency and accountability. What about USA? Oh yeah, yeah. This.
The Atlantic Council. The Atlantic Council.
This is
That's the same
on,
organization that
this was on
we
Joe
played on
Rogan
screen
a while back.
during our first conversation, where we went over the Atlantic Council, holding up "I call bullshit" placards. BS.
Right. Actually, he
and
might have done
looking at
another
Trump tweets, and training
interview with
hundreds
him,
of journalists
actually.
for how to flag and
Since this
censor
came
him
out.
saying tweets like witch hunt or Brexit
Have to
slogans
check
for
Spotify,
you know
though.
cheaper health care. The Atlantic Council, who has 7 CIA directors, 7 former #1 heads of the CIA on its board of directors, that gets direct grant funding.
Oh,
from the
did they have
Pentagon,
John
the State
Bolton on there
Department,
now?
and USAID. The Atlantic Council, who had a
Ever
formal
since he
partnership
lost
agreement
his
with
security
Burisma, I should
access and
note,
his job.
signed on January 19th, 2017, one day before Trump
Yeah,
became the
I
U.S.
mean,
president. The
look,
Atlantic Council.
Yeah, I mean, after these guys are done being politicians or fucking with the system, yeah, they become fucking shills. They become shills. From the Trump atom bomb Yemen signal group, the Pentagon had multiple positive. Pete Carilla and I see amazing. What? Yeah, this is the other thing. Well, like, what? What the fuck is this? Oh, God. Never again. Now I just want to fuck. Okay, well. Why was that so loud, dude? What is up with some videos on the YouTube being loud and then some are? It's like
The ballistic
the fucking mixing on some of this shit.
100% or 90% without American intelligence data.
Zelensky admits just how reliant he is on U.S. intel. Without Pentagon, Ukraine has no way to track Russian missile launches. Well, yeah. They don't have they don't have the anti-air systems like we do.
Without American intelligence data, we can't control the launches of ballistic missiles from the Russian Federation aimed at our people. The ballistics, 100% or 90% of ballistic missiles were hitting civilian infrastructure, energy, schools, universities, churches, you know that. So tens of thousands of missiles, and we don't see when we should raise alarm for the people to go to the shelters. If we don't have this data, we've never had access to that. Our partners gave it to us. This is what I always fought for from the beginning of the war. Give us direct access to that as soon as possible. We didn't have it initially, but we're still grateful. We unblocked it, and that's a success of our team. Without American intelligence data,
Well, there you have it. Oh, look at this retard. Oh, there's another retard. I had no idea he was actually in the Air Force. He's a commie piece of shit, by the way. Alaska. Close the mosque, ban Islam, and deport all Muslims to their countries. Jeez. I don't think that's what Churchill said. Free trade requires fair trade. Fair trade requires a level playing field. What we have today is anything but level. American business and American workers deserve the opportunity to compete. Reciprocity helps make that happen. G20 trade barriers by type. Data as of 2020 to 2023. On tariff barriers. Okay. Alright, got rid of all those.
Breaking news, a tense SWAT standoff in Long Beach. This is the KTLA 5 News at 1. I'm Glenn Walker.
And I'm Lou Parker. Let's get straight to Gil Levis. He's overhead in Sky 5.
Lou and Glenn, Long Beach Police Department is not giving out much information on this police standoff. This is happening, though, on 65th Street and Butler Avenue. That's real close to the 91 freeway. You can see the freeway there on the screen and the 710 freeway. I'm not going to go in tight on the house to show anything because we have SWAT team members on scene and we don't want to give away their positions, but I can tell you this started a short time ago. The freeway is not impacted. I'm going to come over here and show you some of the residents have been evacuated. This is Coolidge Park, and there we find some people in the park waiting to see what's going to happen here, if they're going to be able to go back to their homes or not. But again, a police standoff happening right now. We're working on getting information on what exactly is going on here. That's the latest overhead up in Sky 5. I'll send it back to you in the studio.
Shitfornia. SWAT team is stand up. Oh, did they get him?
All right, back to that breaking news and update on the SWAT standoff in Long Beach.
Let's get up to Gil Levis overhead in Sky 5 with the latest. Gil?
Glenn and Lou, you can see a man here that came out of the house. He used that ladder to get over the fence. Now, this man came out of the house after the SWAT team deployed some tear gas into the house. A tear gas canister was thrown inside of a front window that had been broken out. Shortly after that, this person came out of the back of the house and surrendered on top of a ladder, but he put the ladder over here by the fence to get over to the SWAT team. They're checking him out, but it's unclear if this is the actual person. It appears to be maybe a young person, maybe a teenager that came out of the house, and SWAT team is still on scene, still in their positions here. But this is the house in question. We did see the tear gas deployed in the front of the house in this area here through a window, and that person did come out the back. So it's unclear if that's just one person that was inside that has nothing to do with the situation, or if there's still a suspect outstanding within that house. But they have at least one person here now in custody, and we haven't heard a code 4, or they have not cleared the house at this point. That's the latest overhead up in Sky 5. I'll send it back to you in the studio.
Oh shit, that dude has a fucking grenade launcher.
Send it back to you in the studio.
That's a fucking grenade launcher. Oh god, they're fully strapped. I'm guessing that's the grenade launcher with the tear gas. Boom.
We are not going to be lectured about national security and American troops by Democrats and the mainstream media who turned the other cheek when the Biden administration, because of their incompetence, left 13 service members in Afghanistan.
Yes, definitely.
And not a single person in the previous administration was held accountable for that botched withdrawal. Joe Biden said, in fact, it was a great operation.
Yep.
That is despicable. It's unacceptable to this president and this Secretary of Defense. The National Security Advisor has taken responsibility for this inadvertent number being added to the messaging thread. But above all, we take the lives of our troops, safety, security, prosperity around the globe with the utmost seriousness.
Boom! Drop the mic.
Oh yeah. Yeah, she did say that in the speech. Oh wait, what? No. Oh. We Americans own more wealth than the bottom 170 million Americans.
You don't see it much on TV. You don't hear it talked about here at all.
Oh no, Bernie crashing out again.
But the American people do not believe that it is appropriate that 3 people, 1, 2, 3, Mr. Musk, Mr. Bezos, and Mr. Zuckerberg, 3 Americans own more wealth than the bottom half of American society.
Really?
170
You forgot about your buddies
people.
from the World Economic Forum.
Really? 3 people own more wealth than 170 million people?
You forgot people like your
Anybody here
your
think
own
that is
colleagues who
vaguely
somehow own
appropriate?
more wealth
And by
than
the way,
Americans.
Those very same 3 people, 3 richest people in America, were right there at Trump's inaugural, standing right behind the president. So you want to know what oligarchy is? I know there's some confusion out there. What is oligarchy? Well, it starts off when you have the 3 wealthiest people in the country standing right behind the president.
All right, all right, all right.
Yeah, it says the man who gets paid by fucking Big Pharma, like NGOs and shit. Okay, dude. I mean, let's be real. All these politicians are getting paid by NGOs. Oh yeah, here's the thing.
Afternoon, everybody. Good to see you all. Since Inauguration Day, President Trump has secured trillions of dollars in private and foreign investments. Every single day, more money is pouring into our country, which will create more jobs for hardworking Americans. Today, Schneider Electric pledged to invest more than $700 million in the United States to boost American energy infrastructure and AI. On Monday, Hyundai announced a $20 billion investment in the United States, including $5.8 billion for a new steel plant in Louisiana, which will create nearly 1,500 high-paying jobs. President Trump is truly turning America back into a manufacturing superpower. Yesterday, President Trump marked National Medal of Honor Day by meeting with 21 of our nation's bravest heroes and incredible patriots who have been awarded the highest military honor. Beautiful picture. The president also signed a historic executive order to protect the integrity of American elections by strengthening voter citizenship verification and banning foreign nationals from interfering in U.S. elections. These are the common sense solutions that only Democrats could oppose. But voters deserve elections they can trust, and critical confidence is being restored thanks to President Trump's leadership. Later this afternoon in the East Room, President Trump will mark Women's History Month by honoring the exceptional women around our country, including the highly talented women in his administration and his cabinet. And on an additional scheduling update, the president will hold a press conference in the Oval Office today at 4:00 p.m. to announce tariffs on the auto industry, and I will leave that to him to make that announcement later. Unfortunately, all of this good is happening for our country. This administration is working hard on behalf of the American public every day, but the mainstream media continues to be focused on a sensationalized story from the failing Atlantic magazine that is falling apart by the hour. Here are the facts. The National Security Advisor has taken responsibility for this matter, and the National Security Council immediately said, alongside the White House counsel's office, that they are looking into how a reporter's number was inadvertently added to this messaging thread. We have said all along that no classified material was sent on this messaging thread. There were no locations, no sources, or methods revealed.
I mean, to me, like I said, the blunder isn't as big as what they did to Afghanistan.
Their release of these internal messages validates the truth, which we have been saying all along. If this story
you
proves
want to
anything,
talk fucking
it
bad
proves
and
that
no
Democrats
repercussions
and their propagandists in the
whatsoever?
mainstream media
Holy shit.
know how to fabricate, orchestrate, and disseminate
God
a
damn.
misinformation campaign quite well. And there's arguably no one in the media who loves manufacturing and pushing hoaxes more than Jeffrey Goldberg. Goldberg is an anti-Trump hater. He is a registered Democrat. Goldberg's wife is also a registered Democrat and a big Democrat donor who used to work under who? Hillary Clinton. This is the same Jeffrey Goldberg who infamously lied about weapons of mass destruction to get us into the Iraq War, which cost trillions of dollars and thousands of American soldiers.
Goldberg
And how
during
else
the
has
Bush
Goldberg
era.
discredited himself? By absurdly claiming that President Trump was Vladimir Putin during the 2016 campaign, by peddling the Russia, Russia, Russia hoax that tried to hijack President Trump's first term, by inventing the suckers and losers hoax to help Joe Biden in the 2020 election, by peddling a hoax about President Trump involving
not
Gold
only
Star
was
families
he
to
the
help
one
Kamala
who
Harris
started
in the
it, but the
2024
other
election,
fucking news
which our
outlets
campaign at the
followed.
time vigorously denied, Jeffrey Goldberg didn't care. There's more, but we don't have all day, and we can now add the Signal hoax to this very long list. The real story here is the overwhelming success of President Trump's decisive military action against Houthi terrorists. On March 15th, President Trump ordered a series of military operations against the terrorist Houthis to defend U.S. shipping assets in the Red Sea, restore freedom of navigation for international shipping, and defend the United States from enemy threats. United States forces successfully struck dozens of targets across Houthi-controlled territory. And as a result of these actions, several Houthi leaders were killed, including the Houthi drone chief.
Also, why are you getting mad at us? Why are you getting mad at the presidency for helping our allies?
Controlled facilities,
That's the other thing too. It's like our allies are getting fucked over by this.
And it's
we also have
to
kind of a
remember
vested
why
interest
this
because we are
powerful action took
probably
place in
using
the first place.
the shipping
Because of Joe
too.
Biden's incompetence and pathetic weakness on the world stage for years, the Houthi terrorists grew emboldened.
So the fact that these guys
Immediately
are
after taking
attacking
office in
merchant
2021,
ships and
Joe
you guys
Biden
are just
removed
allowing
the
that shit
Iran-backed
to
Houthis
happen.
from the
Like,
foreign
Jesus.
terrorist organization and specifically designated global terrorist list. Did anybody in this room ask the Biden administration at the time why they made such a stupid mistake? This reckless action undid the designation
Actually, no,
put in
you
place
guys
by President
couldn't
Trump during his
because
first
he
term,
didn't
and
allow
what
you guys
followed
to
was
get
predictable
questions.
and devastating.
That's
The
why.
Houthis targeted U.S. military ships and aircraft, hit
Ah.
commercial ships,
No
including
questions
US flagged
whatsoever.
vessels,
You
threatened
guys
our
fucking
personnel
ate that
overseas,
shit
and
up like it was
attacked our
nothing.
allies in the region. This resulted in more than a year of U.S. flagged commercial ships being prevented from safely sailing through the Suez Canal, the Red Sea, and the Gulf of Aden. This had a massive negative impact on global trade of the economic security
Now
of the
that
United
you got
States.
like the content
Joe
president
Biden was
fucking
the
talking to
commander-in-chief,
people
and
constantly,
he sat on
right?
his hands while the
And
United
actually
States
giving
of
people
America was
answers.
bullied and
Just like,
embarrassed
oh, let's
by
see if
terrorists.
we can trip these people up.
President Trump and his team are putting a stop to these threats in restoring American strength around the world. The Trump peace through strength approach means no terrorist force will stop American commercial and naval vessels from freely sailing the waterways of the world. But unfortunately, this is not what the Democrats and the media want to talk about. They are focused on a coordinated campaign to try and sow chaos in this White House. And this has been the most successful first 2 months of any administration ever, which is exactly why they are doing this. We are not going to bend in the face of this insincere outrage. And here's just one example of how bad faith the Democrats' criticisms are. Democrat Senator Mark Warner is hysterical over the use of Signal, which is an approved decrypted app, in the killing of Houthi terrorists. But Senator Warner himself used Signal to work with a
down with the
lobbyist for a Russian
terrorists.
oligarch to connect with
Put their head on the pike.
the disgraced Steele dossier author who started the Russia hoax. which Jeffrey
Hey
Goldberg later
Hassan,
reported on.
you
How
should get Luffy.
We're not going to lose
You should get
focus of
Luffy
the
on
bottom
this.
line, which is that Joe Biden's weakness enabled and emboldened
should ask how
terrorists,
Luffy's
and
feeling.
President Trump's strength and resolve eliminated those terrorists.
Please get Luffy on the table.
Cat napping is caught on camera in Orange County, and now the animal's owners are asking
that's
for help,
fucked up. Someone stole this
getting their
person's
pet
cat?
back home. The cat has been missing from that Westminster
that's
home
fucked
since
up.
Friday.
Someone stole
Orange
a
County Bureau
cat.
Chief Chip Yost joining us live now in
It's like the
Westminster
same thing with
more
people
on
stealing
the search.
dogs.
Chip?
Or you have those dumb eco-friendly people or PETA people fucking releasing animals and shit.
Yeah, hey there, Glenn and Lou. That cat lived at a home right behind me here, and it was an indoor-outdoor cat, and the owner believes from what she saw on surveillance video on Friday, a man came up when that cat was sitting under this car, picked it up,
fucking yanked
and walked away with it. This is little Clubber Lang, who belongs to a Westminster couple who would really like to get him back.
And he was so adorable. He's a little polydactyl Bengal Highland Lynx mix. He's only 10 months now. He's neutered, he's chipped. He was even wearing a harness with an air tag on it so I could locate him in case he did escape.
Eva Corlew is Clubber's owner, and in this video, you can see that harness and air tag that Clubber was wearing. She says Clubber disappeared from her Westminster home on Finchley Avenue Friday night. When she checked security camera footage, she caught video of a man who she thinks took Clubber as he sat under her boyfriend's car in their driveway.
And then I saw that this man walking from this angle, put something down right here behind my boyfriend's car, and then slowly wandered off. And then a little bit later, he came back walking this way, kneeled back down right here, was looking around, and then left with something.
In the video, she saw the man walk toward a car that was parked on this corner, the same spot where she found Clubber's air tag.
Then actually, when I found the air tag, it was ditched over here on the sidewalk. Yeah, so like, he must have taken the harness off, pulled the air tag off, threw it on the sidewalk,
jacked.
and that's where I found it. And that's where I knew that he was definitely taken.
And she's been posting pictures of Clubber on social media. Also, she's going around still to neighbors trying to see if she can get any more surveillance video. And she says she's going to file a police report with Westminster Police later today. But she's hoping someone out there sees her cat and returns it. For now, reporting live here in Westminster, I'm Chip Yost, KTLA 5 News.
But yeah, this has been a occurring instance where people fucking just jack animals for some reason. No idea why. They're eating the cats. They're eating the I'm sorry. Had to. They're fucking doing it, man. They're fucking doing it.
Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett of Dallas is drawing criticism for recent comments she made about Governor Greg Abbott and Elon Musk.
You know, a lot of people see you out front fighting, but nobody.
It's what you gotta stop doing this. You didn't do this when you were in the house or whatever, and now you're doing it when you're.
He's really asking you, what do you need to maintain
Come on,
that
what are you
fight?
doing?
So thank you so much, Morgan, because we in these hot ass
Oh, and then just switches it up real quick. It's like, oh, okay.
Texas streets, honey. Y'all know we got Governor Hot Wheels down there. Come on now. And the only thing hot about him is that he is a hot ass mess, honey. So yes.
Referring to Governor Greg Abbott as Hot Wheels, Abbott was partially paralyzed when a tree fell on him decades ago.
Houston, Texas. I was just jogging along like any other day that I was out running. And then bam, a huge explosion type sound occurred right next to me. Next thing I knew, I was down because this huge tree had fallen on me.
Greg Abbott soon realized he would be permanently paralyzed from the waist down.
Y'all know we got Governor Hot Wheels down there. Come on now. And the only thing hot about him is that he is a hot ass
I mean, if he
mess.
really wanted to, he
Many
wouldn't
hours
need the
later.
wheelchair. He could upgrade. But he probably likes the arm workout.
You liar! It is worth noting, Scott, that she has, in the past, made a tweet that did refer to wheels and rolling before.
Yeah, and she tried to walk it back and obviously forgot about her previous commentary using that exact same insult. I don't know how the Democrats came to appoint Jasmine Crockett as the unquestioned leader.
Yeah, I don't. If they're gonna push Jasmine Crockett and AOC, oh fuck, man. Oh boy, that's gonna be interesting. Is this the? Oh, okay. We don't need to see that. We already seen that. Oh yeah, shit. I forgot to be.
Some terrible breaking news.
Oh yeah, let's
Supreme
watch
Court
this.
case Bondi versus Vanderstock was decided today. This is the ghost gun rule, frames and receivers that we've been waiting on, and it went just about as many of us thought it was going to go. The Supreme Court just dropped a bombshell 7-2 ruling, and if you're a builder of your own firearms at home, this decision directly impacts you.
Oh, well,
The
yeah.
ATF's overreach just got the green light, but not in the way you might think. If you're keeping score at home, every justice except Clarence Thomas and Samuel Alito just sided with the ATF to uphold their frame and receiver rule. Before we dive into this massive case, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss a single beat when it comes to our rights, our gear, and our freedom.
The
Stick around because you're going to want
Supreme
to hear
Court
what the Supreme
is
Court had to say about this. All right, let's
essentially
rewind.
taking your rights away.
The Gun Control Act of
Slowly.
1968 says that
Or gun
firearms
control
include any
on
weapon
your
designed to
guns.
shoot a projectile and, more controversially, the frame or receiver of such weapon. But here's the thing. Technology has evolved, and companies like Polymer 80 and the like started selling parts kits that you
So
could...
essentially what happened is the Supreme Court is destroying a part of the firearms industry because they deem these unconstitutional for some reason.
assemble at home. No serial numbers, no background checks, no licenses, just tools, some time, and some American spirit of independence. And the government, well, they freaked out. In 2022,
Correct.
the Biden ATF wrote the rule to treat these kits and unfinished lowers as actual firearms. And the government was sued under the Administrative Procedures Act, saying the ATF had no authority to do this. And the District Court agreed. The Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals agreed. And they said that the law was crystal clear that parts kits were not firearms. Frames and receivers mean finished ones. But the Supreme Court? Yeah, about that. It just took a turn for the worse. Justice Neil Gorsuch wrote the majority decision, and he reversed
And see,
the
this
lower
is why you
courts.
can't trust the
High
Supreme Court
the Supreme
justices
Court
too much
said
either.
this. Actually, yes, the ATF can regulate some parts kits and unfinished receivers, as long as they can be readily converted into firearms. The court pointed out that Polymer 80 kits and the like can be assembled into working pistols in about 20 minutes using tools that you have in your garage. And so the court ruled the ATF's interpretation isn't facially inconsistent with the law. In other words, it's not illegal on its face, even if it could be abused down the road. So what does this mean for you? If you're building from an 80% lower, the ATF might now say you're building a firearm. If you're building a complete kit, you might now be required to go through a background check just like you were buying a Glock off the shelf. But, and this is critical, the court didn't give the ATF a blank check. They admitted there are limits. Not all parts kits are firearms. Not every unfinished receiver is covered. This is a legal battlefield now, folks. It's going to be case by case, kit by kit, lawsuit by lawsuit. And here's the spicy part. Justices Clarence Thomas and Samuel Alito dissented hard. Thomas said the court is rewriting the law to give bureaucrats power Congress never gave them. He warned that if parts can be regulated as firearms, we're headed down a dangerous road where freedom gets chipped away one regulation at a time. And he's not wrong. The ATF's track record is filled with flip-flops and rule changes. Do we really want unelected officials deciding what counts as a gun? Sound off in the comments. Do you agree with the court's decision? Should the ATF have this kind of power? I personally think that they should be abolished at all costs. If you care about freedom, now's the time to stay informed and to stay active. Subscribe to Guns and Gadgets, share this video with your Second Amendment buddies, and let us know in the comments.
Oh yeah, did Pam? Oh yeah, that's right, Pam Bondi. Yeah, was Pam Bondi the one that kept
in favor of the
case
ATF
going? I forgot.
The only justices that had their brains inside their melons.
Because Pam Bondi, I know for sure, is someone
like I said,
who
this went
wants
exactly
gun control.
How we felt it was going to go.
Well, that's why I don't. That's why I don't like Pam Bondi.
The oral
too much,
arguments in the Supreme
she's
Court.
A fucking bitch.
It kind of went the way I said it would at that point. It wasn't good, but now we know. Take care.
Yeah, honestly, I think it's time to start kicking out some of these fucking Supreme Court judges. A lot of these people don't fucking deal with firearms. They're so old that they have security details that protect them. Fuck these people. Fucking hate these bitches. They're all a bunch of senile old fucks who lived a lavish life of protection and luxury.
Thank you very much. It's an honor to be with you today. We just celebrated Women's Day at the White House. It was fantastic, attended by a lot of great women. All women are great. So this is the beginning of Liberation Day in America.
Care about this.
We're going to take back just some of the money that has been taken from us by people sitting behind this desk or another desk that's not quite as nice, but they have their choice of 7, as you know. And we're going to charge
what time is it?
Countries for doing business in our country and taking our jobs, taking our wealth, taking a lot of things that they've been taking over the years. They've taken so much out of our country, friend and foe, and frankly, friend has been oftentimes much worse than foe. And this is very modest. What we're going to be doing is a 25% tariff on all cars that are not made in the United States. If they're made in the United States, there's absolutely no tariff. We start off with a 2.5% base, which is what we were at, and we go to 25%. And basically, as you know, and as you've been seeing, not reporting as accurately as it should be reported because it's a massive story.
All right.
Business is coming back to the United States so that they don't have to pay tariffs. And I think also because of November 5th, the election, they're very happy. AI is coming back to levels that nobody's ever seen before. It's a new, sort of a new business, I guess, when you think about it. But it's plants are going up all over the United States, and many of them have already been started. We're getting early electricity taken care of. We're getting permits very quickly for them, and we're going to make their life very happy. They're coming in with tens of billions of dollars. Individual plants will cost 10, 15, even 20 billion dollars. We're going to let them build electricity generating plants along with their plant, and they can't even believe it, and we're going to get them very quick permits, as I've done always. I did that in Louisiana with 2 LNG plants. I got them one permit in 1 day after waiting 14 years, and the other one in 1 week after waiting for 12 years. But this is very exciting to me. This is the automobile industry, and this will continue to spur growth like you haven't seen. Before I was elected, we were losing all of our plants. They were being built in Mexico and Canada and other places. Now those plants largely have stopped, and they're moving them to our country. In Indiana, the great state of Indiana, I love Indiana. Honda is building one of the biggest plants anywhere, and they've just started. They wouldn't have done it without this. In all cases, they wouldn't have done it without what we're doing. So we'll effectively be charging a 25% tariff. But if you build your car in the United States, there is no tariff. And what that means is a lot of foreign car companies, a lot of companies are going to be in great shape because they've already built their plant, but their plants are underutilized, so they'll be able to expand them inexpensively and quickly. But others will come into our country and build, and they're already looking for sites.
We already
looking
kind
for
of know
mostly
about
sites.
this.
They don't want to take the old buildings that are empty and falling down. They want to build new, and there's tremendous action. There is likewise for other companies and countries, like the chip making process. Your chip bill was a disaster done by Biden. All he does is give tremendous amounts of billions of dollars to chip companies that will do nothing with the money. They're not going to use the money here. They're going to just keep it. They have plenty of money. The one thing they have is they have a lot of money. In our case, all we're doing is saying you can't come in unless you build here. And the largest chip company by far is manufacturer from Taiwan is building here, and it'll give us almost 40% of the chip market just with that. They're spending almost $200 billion.
Wait, so you're saying the... Interesting. So you're saying the Taiwan people are moving some manufacturing stuff here, huh? What was... The Taiwan semiconductor?
Build a plant, and they've almost started. They'll be doing much of the work in Arizona. So we have a lot of exciting things, but to me, this is one of the most exciting. Now, outside of one specific day, and that's Liberation Day. That's the real Liberation Day of America. That's going to be in
D-Day.
April 2nd, and I look forward to it. We'll have a little news conference. We'll talk about it, but this is very exciting. So we're signing a executive order today that's going to lead to tremendous growth in the automobile industry. As you know, the electric mandate that we did allows you to buy a car now, electric or gasoline powered or hybrid. You can buy any car you want. We had it so that within a short period of time you had to buy all electric, and the country could never provide the money necessary to build all of those power plants that you would need all over the country. As you know, in the Middle West, they built 8 power stations. That's like the size of this desk or smaller. And they ended up spending $9 billion on 8. And of the 8, 4 of them didn't work. And we're not doing that. So you can buy electric, or you can buy gasoline, or you can buy hybrid, or you can buy whatever you want to buy. And that's the way it should be. The market's going to determine that. And you're going to see prices going down, but it's going to go down specifically because they're going to buy what we're doing, incentivizing companies to, and even countries, but companies to come into America and build. And we're already setting records for new plants. I think the new plant number, the tally is just within a period of a few weeks. It's very large. I want to be accurate. It's very large. And I'd like to ask Will just to come and give some of the basics, and then I'll sign it. And it's off to the races. I think our automobile business will flourish like it's never flourished before. Yes, please, Will.
Thank you, sir. As you stated, we've prepared for your attention a proclamation imposing a 25% tariff on foreign-made cars and light trucks. This is in addition to tariffs that are already in place on those goods. In addition to, as you said, spurring increased domestic manufacture of cars and trucks, we expect that these tariffs will result in over $100 billion of new annual revenue to the United States of America in tariff revenue.
I think ultimately we could probably anywhere from $600 billion to $1 trillion will be taken in over the relatively short-term period, meaning a year from now, but starting right away. I think we'll go from 600 to $1 trillion within 2 years. And I think we'll be right from the beginning, we're going to be at a very high number, right from the beginning. And right from the beginning, you're going to have a lot of construction jobs, but you're also going to have a lot of automobile jobs. So this is very exciting, but it's also exciting because of what's happening with other aspects. We're going to be doing tariffs on pharmaceuticals in order to bring our pharmaceutical industry back. We don't make anything here in terms of drugs, medical drugs, different types of drugs that you need, medicines. It's in other countries, largely made in China, a lot of it made in Ireland. Ireland was very smart. We love Ireland. But we're going to have that. We're going to have lumber. We're going to free up some of our land. And you'll be able to meet a lot of other standards like fire cuts. If Los Angeles had fire cuts, which they didn't have, that's a gap of half a football field between areas. You wouldn't have had the fires. They would have been contained. But you have fire cuts. And by the way, you sell that wood for a lot of money, a lot of profit. It's made from that. But we're going to be doing lumber. We're freeing up our land so that we don't have to use outside sources of lumber. Energy, we're doing fantastically well at. The energy prices have been coming down rapidly as we increase supply, and we've already done that. We have Chris and Doug are doing a fantastic job in that. That's Department of Energy and Department of Interior. And they're working together hand in hand because Interior has the land and Energy has the ability to do the drilling and do what they have to do. Our coal areas are going to be opened up for clean, beautiful coal. Germany's opening up mini coal plants now. They tried the wind and it didn't work. They almost went out of business. They almost went bankrupt. They tried wind, which is a disaster because it's too expensive and it doesn't look good, kills all the birds, a lot of problems. But Germany's now building a lot of coal plants. China is building one a week. Think of that. And they're using coal, which is very powerful. Coal is a very powerful energy. And we're opening up our coal mines again, and we're going to do, I call it beautiful, clean coal. The technology is so good now that coal can give you tremendous power at the same time. It can be very clean. But we're also obviously doing oil and gas and various other things. You can do pretty much whatever you want. We don't like the wind because we think it ruins the landscapes, the plains, ruins them. And it's got a lot of problems. It's also by far the most expensive energy.
Well, I mean, also when you're doing windmill and fucking solar, you're taking up a large real estate, right? You could use that for something else. Whereas the other ones, you don't have to.
And if you look at what's happening with whales, in one area, they lost 2 whales, like in 20 years, washed ashore, and this year they had 17 wash ashore. So there's something happened out there. There's something driving the whales a little bit loco, but they lost 2 in 20 years.
Oh yeah, that too. Yeah,
so it's something wrong out there.
Yeah, for whatever reason.
This is going to lead to
I don't know why the construction of certain machinery around certain ocean places where whales are, for whatever reason they get affected. Don't know why.
You're going to see numbers like you haven't seen, both in terms of employment. Takes a little while. You're going to have great construction numbers initially, and then you're going to ultimately have a lot of people making a lot of cars.
It is strange.
And one other thing, we have the Speaker of the House with us who's doing a fantastic job. And where's Mike? And we're trying to get approved. Mike, thank you very much for being here. We're trying to get approved, if we can. If you borrow money to buy a car, you're allowed to deduct interest payments for purposes of income tax, but only if the car is made in America. So if the car is made in America, you get a loan, you can deduct the interest. That's a big saving. A lot of people in that part of the world, in terms of buying cars, a lot of them don't think in terms of deductions. People that think in terms of deductions are very wealthy people, but people are going to start understanding what a good deduction is all about. So when you get a loan to buy a car, and I think it's going to pay for itself. I don't think there's any cost. I think you're going to have so many cars built. But you're only going to get that deduction of interest if the car is made in the United States.
You must
of America.
be in
so
America.
I'm going to sign this, and Mike, I hope you can get that because I think it's going to be amazing in terms of the number of cars that are made because of it. And I want to thank Howard Lutnick, our fabulous commerce chairman. That's what he is. He's a chairman. He's a very successful guy, a great guy. And we have a big day, Howard, coming up next week. That's Liberation Day. That's going to be on the 2nd, and that's going to be reciprocal. And I think people will be impressed. We're going to be very fair. We're going to be very nice, actually. We have not been treated nicely by other countries, but we're going to be nice. So I think people will be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, I mean, if you really think about it, we're the most open country.
Because we're the piggy bank that everybody steals from, and they've been doing it for
And with
many years,
fucking
for
UK
decades. We're not
land,
gonna let
even
it
though
happen.
they're getting fucking
So, but we're gonna treat
shafted
people
real
very
hard.
nicely. We're gonna treat
They're
other
getting
countries
gutted
very,
a
very
lot.
nicely, and I think it's going to have a very positive effect.
They're getting
on
gutted
everybody,
alive
including
by
those
these
other countries.
fucking
So I'll sign
kids
this, and,
wielding
we will see you
kitchen
again
knives
on
and just stabbing
April the
people. It's
2nd.
like, Jesus.
In terms of
fuck.
this, it's going to be another round, and it's about making America great again, making it strong and prosperous again. Thank you very much.
So, Mr. President, on tariffs, can I ask you about tariffs, Mr. President, on the car tariffs? How do
You got Germany that just took away freedom of speech.
Could an automaker in Germany say, leave the tires off the
You
car?
had the UK land basically take away freedom of speech for like 4
If
years.
parts are made in America and a car isn't, those parts
Oh,
are not
more
going to be
than 4
taxed or
years.
tariffed. And we'll have very strong policing as far as that's concerned.
Right, 'cause
For the
it's
most part, I
2005
think it's going
now.
to lead cars to be made in one location. You know, right now, a car would be made here, sent to Canada, sent to Mexico, sent all over the place. It's ridiculous. So this is a very simple system. And the beauty of the 25, it's one number. It's not up or down depending on the cost of the car. It's one number. And that number is going to be used to reduce debt greatly in the United States and to build things, reduce taxes. I mean, basically, I view it as reducing taxes and also reducing debt. And within a fairly short period of time, I think we're going to have a balance sheet that's going to be outstanding. Yeah.
How do you assure Americans then that this will not cause a long-term increase in prices?
Well, look, I think we're going to have a market the likes of which nobody's ever seen before, not in this country. You know, we had the best market ever in my first term. It was the strongest market ever, the best economy ever. And I think I think this blows it away. But this is something that people have wanted to do, presidents have wanted to do for a long time. A lot of them didn't understand it. It wasn't a priority for them. But foreign countries understood it very well. And they've really ripped us off at levels that nobody's seen before. But that's not going to happen.
Mr. President, is this for today or on April 2nd, the auto tariffs, sir? Do these auto tariffs go into effect today or on April 2nd?
They go into effect on April 2nd. We're signing today. It goes into effect April 2nd. We start collecting on April 3rd.
Mr. President, do you have any more sectoral
There
tariffs
it is.
on April 2nd?
What does that mean?
Any more tariffs on any other sectors on April 2nd, for example, chips or pharmaceuticals?
Not then, but we will be putting a tariff on lumber. We, as you know, have a tariff already on steel and on aluminum of 25%, and we're taking in tremendous amounts of dollars. More importantly, our steel factories and aluminum factories are roaring. They're starting to roar. They're building new ones. I just heard from Nucor, which is a big company, a very big steel company, and they're building a massive.
Let's build
plant
some
for steel.
swords and
But they
weaponry.
wouldn't build without this. You're going to see things that are going to be actually amazing, and I think you already have. You know, we've had some
Can we
news
import
conferences where I can't have enough. They want to do
some
news
Japanese
conferences
sword
where they
makers?
announce they're going to spend 20, 30, 40 billion dollars. But Apple, as an example, is spending $500 billion. Okay.
So on the signal chat, Senator Roger Wicker.
Hold on one second. Go ahead.
Reciprocal tariffs next week. Will those be immediately effective April 2nd on all countries, or will you focus on the worst offenders?
No, we're going to make it all countries, and we're going to make it very lenient. I think people are going to be very surprised. It'll be, in many cases, less than the tariff that they've been charging us for decades. So I think people are going to be very, very surprised.
On these auto tariffs,
I think they'll be pleasantly surprised. I think we're trying to keep it somewhat conservative.
and on these auto tariffs, we saw obviously the NASDAQ 100 go down 2% at close, S&P 500 down 1%. What are you
Is that
concerned
today?
about that?
Today?
Yes, sir.
I didn't say that. I want to see the jobs. I want to see that'll all take care of itself. That could take care of itself in 1 day, 2 days, or 1 week.
Are there conditions under which you remove these auto tariffs, sir, or is this permanent for the rest of your term in office?
Oh, this is permanent. Yeah, 100%.
Are you on the auto tariffs? Did Elon Musk advise you at all on these auto tariffs?
No, because he may have a conflict, so we don't talk. I've never talked to him. Elon's amazing. He's never asked me for a favor in business whatsoever. I'm actually a little surprised by it. I might do it, I might not do it. I do what's right, and he'd want me to do what's right. No, he's a patriot. He has never, these are big deals we're talking about. This is probably nothing like this. And I've never had Elon come and say, would you do me a favor with the mandate or the electric mandate or anything. He's never asked me for anything.
So what's the response to Republican lawmakers who have
Oh,
said today
he
that
thinks
there's
he's gonna get fucking
accountability and not downplay what's happened with the
I don't think that's possible. Not even,
Well, I don't know
not
about
even
downplaying. The
Trump
press
can help
upplays
him
it.
with
I think
that
it's all a
shit.
witch hunt. That's all. I think it's a witch hunt. I wasn't involved with it. I wasn't there, but I can tell you the result is unbelievable.
Like, there's
because
no
the
way
Houthis
he
are
can fix
looking to
it,
do
the
something. They
fucking
want to
Elon
know how do we
Musk
stop
issue
How do we stop?
just
do we have
because the
peace?
rest of the
Houthis want peace
fucking
because they're getting their
country
hell knocked out
doesn't
of them.
want
It's been very, very strong. The Houthis are dying for peace. They don't want this. And they're bad. Look, they were knocking ships out of the ocean. We had in the Suez Canal, they only have about 20% of the ships going through. They have to go through a different way, which takes weeks of travel. and that really affects commerce. But the Houthis have been hit hard, and they want to negotiate peace. But I don't think
Wait, they want to negotiate peace after you fucking bombarded Motherfucker just bombarded the whole fucking place. Oh shit.
Do you still believe nothing classified was shared?
I'm surprised they want peace now.
I'm sure you have to ask the various people involved. I really don't know. I can only tell you this. You know, you don't want to talk about it. The Houthis have been horrible to the world. What they've done, killed a lot of people, and knocked down a lot of ships and planes and anything else. You know, it's not just the ships. And they have been hit. They have been hit harder than they've ever been hit. And they want us to stop so badly. And they've got to stop. They've got to say no
given
mas.
what we saw last night, holy shit,
I can
man.
only say that the attacks, it's attacks every day, every night. It's not just the one. You're talking about one. The attacks have been very successful, even beyond our wildest expectations. We've hit them very hard, very successfully. And we're going to do it for a long time. We're going to keep it going for a long time.
Senate Republicans have asked
The Luffy's are going down.
for an Inspector General report on the signal issue. Will you agree to that?
It doesn't bother me. I want to find if there's any mistake or if Signal doesn't work. It could be that Signal is not very good. It's a company. Maybe it's not very good. I think we'd rather know about it now. There was no harm done because the attack was unbelievably successul that night. And it has been unbelievably successful every single night.
It was that.
For the last 4
it
or
was
5
going
months.
that night.
And that's the thing that you should be talking about. This is something that should have been done by sleepy Joe Biden, but he was asleep at the wheel other than when he was stealing money, of course. Joe Biden should have done this attack.
I mean, look,
Yemen,
this
which
is
basically a certain group within Yemen.
This is
The Houthis.
military
This should have been
operations,
done by
obviously.
Joe
This has
Biden,
nothing
and
to
it wasn't.
do with
And
the
that
American
causes this
people,
world a lot
right?
of
I
damage
mean,
and a lot of
it kind of does, kind of doesn't.
Also overseeing the investigation to find out what went wrong.
Right,
Who's
right,
responsible?
yeah.
Mike Waltz says that he's
I
responsible.
mean, we're paying
Well,
for
yeah,
this,
Mike
right?
Waltz, I guess he said he claimed responsibility, I would imagine. It had nothing to do with anyone else. It was Mike, I guess. I don't know. I was told it was Mike. But again, the attacks were unbelievably successful, and that's ultimately what you should be talking about, I think. Mike took responsibility for it. Say it?
Should Secretary Hegseth consider his position over the signal?
Hegseth is doing a great job. He had nothing to do with this. How do you bring Hegseth into it? He had nothing to do with it. Look, it's all a witch hunt. Here we are talking about some of the greatest business deals
Even
ever made,
Trump
the
was
greatest
like, dude,
companies
we
in the
don't
world are
fuck,
moving
I don't
into the
care.
United States, and you want to ask about whether or not Signal works. I don't know
I
that Signal
mean, look,
works. I think Signal
the
could be
attack,
defective,
it
to be
was
honest with you.
successful. Yeah.
And I think that's what we have to, because you use Signal, and we
matter.
use Signal, and everybody uses Signal, but it could be a defective platform, and we're going to have to find that out.
Yeah, it's like people do use that platform.
You
It's
been
like,
briefed
yeah.
about the soldiers in Lithuania who are missing?
No, I haven't.
Wait, what? Lithuanian soldiers missing? Excuse me? Huh?
It
Where did
depends
this
on whether or
come
not they
from?
have factories here. I can tell you, if they have factories here, they're thrilled. If you don't have factories here, they're going to have to get going and build them, because otherwise they have to pay tariffs. Very simple. And most of those have pretty big factories here. Like General Motors has big factories here. They're going to move their parts divisions back to the United States, because some of them were made in Canada, some of them were made in Mexico and other places. They'll be moving their parts divisions back to the United States in factories where they may be at 60% capacity, so they don't even really have to build too much of a factory.
U.S. soldiers missing and
generally
found
speaking, if they have
submerged in water.
factories here, plants here, where they make their cars and equipment,
that's
but they
the
make
one
their
they're
cars here,
talking about.
they are thrilled. Same thing with the steel industry. Steel industry is now paying a 25% tariff, as you know, I put it on last week.
Yeah, they're not missing.
The business is roaring
they
in the
got
United
got
States, and we
for
can't,
some
because of
reason.
military, we can't lose the steel industry. If I didn't put the initial tariffs on steel in my first term, you wouldn't be able to have a military, because we wouldn't have every steel company company would be bankrupt
I don't know what
in the
happened.
United States, and every plant would be closed. But now they're
bro,
booming.
we got
and putting
4
this tariff on, this
deceased
additional tariff for steel and
service
aluminum,
members now
It's
in
making them thrive,
Lithuania.
and it's already happened.
Coming up on the deadline for the TikTok sale, will you extend the deadline if you don't have a deal? Do you support Oracle?
Well, we will have a form of a deal. TikTok is very popular, very successful, very good. We're going to have a form of a deal, but if it's not finished, it's not a big deal. We'll just extend it. I have the right to have the deal and to extend it if I want. So we'll see whether or not we have a deal. We have a lot of interest in TikTok.
Is there a way for a U.S. company to operate it and ByteDance to still have a share of the algorithm?
Well, there are numerous ways you can buy TikTok, and we will find the one that's best for the country, for our country. I'm worried about our country more than anything else. with respect to TikTok. And China's going to have to play a role in that, possibly, in the form of an approval, maybe. And I think they'll do that. Maybe I'll give them a little reduction in tariffs or something to get it done, you know, because every point in tariff is worth more money than TikTok. If you think, every point, tariff is a much bigger world, and TikTok is big, but every point in tariffs is worth more than TikTok. So in order to get China to do, maybe I'd give them a reduction in tariffs as an example. Sounds like something I'd do.
So Mr. President, tariffs are going to be good for Tesla, sir?
Good for who?
Tesla, which makes it kind of
Well, he is a fantastic Tesla. Will tariffs be good? I think they may, it could be a net neutral or they may be good. He has a big plant in Texas. He has a big plant in California. And anybody that has plants in the United States, it's going to be good for, in my opinion.
Mr. President, the European
If you want
Union
to
has
return
really
education control to the states, how would you handle it if a state like California were to put in place education policy?
You know, I haven't seen a mask in so long. You're wearing a mask. So nice of you. I haven't seen anybody wearing a mask in a long time. It's good. You feel more
You said you want to return education control to the states. How would you handle it if a state like California were to put in place education policies you disagree with?
Well, I think that California is going to be tougher because they're doing badly on everything they do. You know, everything they touch turns bad. So a place like California would be tougher for education. But what I would see with California is you'd have a Los Angeles department, and you'd have Riverside. You'd have, you know, you'd go to various places, and I think you'd have some great areas in California, and then you'd have some, like everything else, that doesn't work so well. But ultimately, I think it would be very successful. I think in New York, as an example, you go to Long Island, Westchester, you may have Nassau County, Queens County. You break it up in certain ways so they'd have maybe 5 departments. You know, because of the size, they'd have 5 departments instead of 1. A state like Iowa, you'd have 1, and I mean they're just chomping at the bit to get going. So many states are chomping at the bit to get education, and it's going to happen fast to get the education brought back to the states. And I mean, I tell you what, you have 40 states, in my opinion, that would be as good as Norway, Sweden, Denmark. You take a look at those 3 are top, among the top, and they've been there for a long time. But I think you'll have a lot. Finland is very strong. Frankly, China is very strong. China's the top 10, and that's something considering the size, you know. So it's not only a size thing, but Norway, Sweden have been very good. Denmark has been very good. I think you have Iowa and Indiana, and a lot of our states will be equal to them, but they can't be equal if it's going to be run in Washington. We don't want that. Yeah.
President Director Gabbard testified that any information that would indicate that the U.S. or its allies are going to make an attack should be classified. The Secretary of Defense has said that the information in those messages was not classified. Are you going to ask him to review whether it should have been, should flight times and sequencing?
Sure, I'll ask him to do that. Sure, I would. It would be. You can view that 2 ways, frankly. There's a lot of ways to answer that question, but I'd certainly ask him to take a look at it.
So, Mr. President, when they did this, in hindsight, should they have let go?
Well, there may be a problem with the platform, and if there's a problem with the platform, nobody should use it. You know, they could have a basic problem, but you know, I say it again, the attack was so successful, it was so lethal. Not that I'm looking for lethality. I wish we didn't have to do it at all, but they're shooting down our ships, they're shooting down our planes, and we can't allow that to happen. And again, this is something that should have been done by Biden a long time ago, or 1 or 2 more.
So, Vice President's comments that he doesn't like bailing out the Europeans. Do you agree with that?
Well, I understand where he's coming from. The European Union has been treating us very, very badly in terms of the VAT tax that they charge. They charge a tremendous VAT tax, and they don't sell our cars in Europe. They don't sell our agriculture in Europe. They don't let us do very much. They treat us very badly. One of the reasons
all the
I'm putting
cars
tariffs
in
on
Europe,
is that
UK,
reason. We take
Japan, all
millions
these
of
cars
their
are different.
BMW,
in terms
Volkswagen,
of the
Mercedes-Benz.
regulations
We take millions
and how
and millions
they're
of their
made
cars.
too.
They take none. I don't know if they take any of our cars. And they have
they
non-monetary
don't.
tariffs where it's impossible for us to
Cars
sell
in the U.S. are
almost in Europe.
specifically made
so I
because
understand what
of
he's saying.
our
Same thing with NATO.
smog
When I got
check
involved,
regulations and
these mostly European countries,
standards.
as you know, we had 28 at the time, and only 7 were paid, and most of them were not paid. 20 some odd countries were not paid, or they
right.
were
Even
substantially
imported cars,
less
you
than
can
they're
tell
supposed to
that
be. And
there's
the United States was
under
literally
the
making
hood.
up the
There's
difference.
definitely
Europe, and it's very unfair.
differences.
So I understand. I didn't know he made that
versus,
statement, but if he did, I mean, I'm okay
cars
with
made
it.
in the US.
I complain about it all the time. The European Union treats us horribly on trade, and NATO has treated now. I raised a lot of money for NATO, hundreds of billions of dollars. You were here last week when the Secretary General said without Trump, there wouldn't be a NATO, because I got them to pay money. It was unfair. The United States was paying 80, 90, 100%, okay?
You said there's going to be more lenient than reciprocal next week?
I think there'll be, I think if I did to them what they did to us, I think a lot of people would be very unhappy. Yeah, I think it'll be much more lenient. I'm going to be much more lenient with regard to the tariffs that you'll see on April 2nd. I'm going to be much more lenient than they were with us. They were really bad with us. I tell you, they've treated us badly, and the president should have stepped up. They should have stepped up and done something, and they didn't do it, and hence we have $36 trillion in debt.
Mr. President, you've criticized Jeffrey Goldberg. Have you asked your national security advisor how he had his phone number in his phone?
We have asked a lot of questions, and we're going to try finding all those things out. No, I just know Goldberg is a sleazebag. You know, his magazine's terrible. He's just a guy.
He's a sleazebag.
How far are you prepared to go on Greenland? You said this morning that the United States needs Greenland.
We need Greenland for national security and international security. So I think we'll go as far as we have to go. We need Greenland. And the world needs us to have Greenland, including Denmark. Denmark has to have us have Greenland. And, we'll see what happens. But if we don't have Greenland, we can't have great international security. If you look at the ships outside of Greenland, China, Russia, places that we have to be there. If we're not there, we can't have national or international security. So I view it from a security standpoint. We have to be there.
Mr. President decided to join his wife instead of sending her. She's going to be solo to the dog slavery.
Oh, this is just for opening up trade and whatnot, too.
I don't know. I'm not sure. I think you may have JD going, actually. Yeah. I don't know if they've split that up, but Usha's great. But I understand JD might be going.
So the European Union has voted or decided against
Yeah,
Apple
for some
and Google during the Digital
so
Markets
for
Act.
some reason there was an article online saying, "Oh no, Usha's only going." It's like, what? And then I guess for whatever reason someone told Greenland that Usha was the one coming, and they made a comment. Why are people doing that? It's so fucking weird.
Those companies they targeted with that. An Apple executive told me they believe that's politically motivated because of the tariffs on April 2nd.
The European Union is suing a lot of our companies, like Apple, and they have a $17 billion judgment. And they're suing Google, they're suing Facebook, they're suing a lot of other companies. And they use that money it's like a tariff. They go before judges that are very pro-European Union, to put it mildly. I have that same thing here, but I don't think that people are going to stand for it.
Are they using it as leverage?
No, they're just taking advantage of American companies, and we're not going to let them do it anymore. Okay? Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.
There you have it. And then we got the Marco Rubio and Jamaican PM. Let's see what goes on here.
Good afternoon. It is my great pleasure to welcome United States Secretary of State, the Honorable Marco Rubio, to Jamaica. Now, I have known Secretary of State Rubio for some time, and I've always been very impressed by his deep knowledge of the region. Jamaica is deeply honored that you have chosen to visit us first on your official visit to the English-speaking Caribbean. This visit so early in your term confirms the strength of historic friendship and strategic partnership between Jamaica and the United States, one built on shared values, democratic ideals, and people-to-people ties. Our nations have long been united by a common commitment to freedom, prosperity, and security, and your visit today reaffirms this bond. Today, we engaged in productive and constructive discussions focused on strengthening this partnership and expanding opportunities for collaboration. During our meeting, we addressed several critical areas of cooperation. Security, one major area. We reaffirmed our commitment to enhancing cooperation in combating transnational crime, ensuring the collective safety of our citizens, and mutually secured borders. We discussed a global war on gangs, and there is already significant policy alignment with both countries in this regard. The United States has been instrumental in supporting Jamaica's efforts to bolster its marine domain awareness and intelligence surveillance capabilities, which are crucial in our fight against
asking for military aid and training.
We discussed expanded and repurposing development assistance towards our shared goals, including security. this will exponentially expand our cooperation in fighting lottery scammers, transnational organized crimes, trafficking in guns.
Oh yeah, apparently in Jamaica there's sometimes telemarketing scams and shit coming from Jamaica to the United States.
And trafficking in this hemisphere. On Haiti, we look forward to continued partnership.
Basically, certain countries that have like the biggest like telemarketer scams that hit certain places.
Civil and national security challenges in Haiti pose an acute threat to Haitians, to regional stability, and indeed to its close neighbors, including Jamaica. We agreed that we must do everything we can to stabilize the security situation in Haiti so that they are better able to build capacity and address their political and humanitarian challenges. On trade, recognizing the United States as Jamaica's largest trading partner, with bilateral trade surpassing $3 billion in 2023, we explored avenues to further expand trade relations between our two countries. The renewal of the Caribbean-based Economic Recovery Act was raised as a matter of critical importance to trade for ourselves and for all CARICOM
Muslim or Pakistani motherfuckers trying
means to attract
steal money from you.
U.S. investment into
From
Jamaica's
those
emerging sectors.
scam call
With our
centers.
stable macroeconomic framework and positive growth trajectory, Jamaica is open for enhanced U.S. investment across multiple sectors, including energy and nearshoring. In terms of logistics, the discussion touched on working with U.S. companies to leverage Jamaica's location as a premier transshipment hub in the Americas.
Nicaragua.
And this will further bolster Jamaica's work as a major logistics hub for global trade. On labor issues, the United States and Jamaica have enjoyed an 80-year-old relationship in terms of bilateral labor agreements, where we provide short-term skilled and semi-skilled labor in sectors such as agriculture and hospitality. We discuss ways to expand and enhance these agreements, including skills development partnerships to upskill and reskill Jamaican workers.
Basically.
On our travel
Cluster
advisory,
countries in the
we
world.
discussed significant progress that we're making in bringing down all
Russia,
major crimes,
India,
and that Jamaica today
Nigeria.
is safer than at any time in the last 2 decades. In
Catfishers,
crime against
yeah,
visitors
America,
represents
yeah.
less than
China, Pakistan,
0.01% of the
UK,
more than 3
Brazil,
billion
South
visitors
Africa,
to
and
Jamaica annually.
Romania.
We are committed to working collaboratively to ensure that travel advisories reflect the current realities and promote travel to Jamaica. I'm confident that the dialogue initiated today will lead to tangible outcomes, benefiting both our peoples and contributing to mutual stability and prosperity. Indeed, our concern for enhanced regional and hemispheric security and prosperity was recognized as a shared one. I wish my CARICOM colleagues who are now in Kingston productive meetings as well with the Secretary this afternoon. Jamaica remains committed to fostering a partnership with the United States, one grounded in mutual respect, shared values, and a collective ambition for stronger and a more resilient future. I extend my sincere gratitude to Secretary Rubio and his delegation for their visit and for the productive and forward-looking discussions we have had. We look forward to building upon this foundation, deepening our collaboration, and taking our partnership to new and greater heights for the lasting benefit of both our nations. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you very much for joining us, and I now give the floor to Secretary Rubio for his press statement.
Well, Mr. Prime Minister, first of all, thank you for the very warm welcome. On Tuesday was I completed my 9th week on the job, so I told you I'd be here early. I think that's pretty early, and I'm glad to be here so soon. Thank you to the Foreign Minister as well for welcoming me and all the work we do together, and to the people of Jamaica. The ties, I would say, between the United States and Jamaica don't need to be explained. They're incredibly strong. And in particular, my home state of Florida, we were commenting close, 800,000 to 1 million Jamaican expatriates who call the United States home. And I asked, was it just in Florida? Because a very vibrant community that's contributed so much to the place that I've called home for so long. And so we have a shared history that's tied together by people. I also would say that some substantial percentage of Americans have traveled here at some point in their lives. And that also binds countries together. Nothing binds countries and cultures more closely together than people. And we certainly have that in common. And we want to continue to make sure that we build on that. We did touch on a couple of topics. The first is trade. The world has been closely followed. The president is in the midst of realigning American global trade policy, primarily to reset global trade in a way that's fair to the U.S. after 20 or 30 years of what we believe is unfairness, not when it comes to Jamaica, but broader. And from that will come real opportunities to create new alignments and new trade arrangements and new trade opportunities.
Yeah,
and
honestly, I think what's happening is Trump wants to
in particular, we discussed supply chains.
fix the
And we
money,
asked
right?
ourselves
Our
why, if
country's
so many of these products are
fucking
destined for the North American market,
right, trade
why are
and
so
money
many of the
issues.
productive capacities located
Because
in
the
halfway
way
around
we've
the world?
been
There's a
doing
lot
it
of
for
different
so
reasons why
long,
that's happened.
it isn't
But it makes all the
fucking
sense in the
helping.
world to see more productive
Right,
capacity,
that
more
fucking
manufacturing, more industry relocated
national
into our hemisphere.
deficit.
We certainly have the labor and the population and the
that
desire
keeps
to do
going
so
up.
in our hemisphere. It's closer to the end markets. And so we want to pursue opportunities to make that possible.
You know, we
clearly, I
need
think
to
Jamaica is one of those places that could
repurpose,
benefit. And the Prime Minister has that vision for the
overhaul,
country, and the creation of not just jobs, but jobs that pay even better than the jobs that maybe some could find now. So
Change
it's
some
an opportunity
bills
I think would be
around,
mutually
some
beneficial.
laws,
And we're going
whatever.
to actively seek and look for
'Cause
ways
it's
to
not
make that
going so
possible.
well.
I also think there's extraordinary opportunities for investment, and we talked about it, whether it's
And then there's
particularly
like
in
this
energy. The United States is
just
going to be
black
producing
hole of
a
just
lot of
money
liquefied
just going
natural gas,
somewhere
which is a very clean fuel
to
that we
fuck
have in
all
abundance and
somewhere
that we seek
that we don't
to
even
export.
know.
And it's also critical, by the way. You cannot have manufacturing without reliable and affordable energy. And so it's one of those things that I think potentially we could continue to partner along with other things, whether it's mining opportunities off the seabed. In essence, to utilize all of the resources of the country in a responsible way that protects your environment, that protects your natural beauty, but at the same time is generating income and opportunity
Yeah,
and
that
employment
too.
for
There's
the people.
been too
Ultimately, that's-
many.
governments have two prime
There's just been
responsibilities,
too
the
many
safety and the
instances of,
prosperity of their
right,
people.
some of these
And you're
Icelandic countries getting fucked up because of mining operations, right? Just right, humans just trying to get resources off the land and fucking it up. And then you got like the big businessmen who fuck it up too, who only care about the money and don't care about anything else.
The Prime Minister and his government is very focused on those two priorities. We did talk about tourism because
Oh, yeah,
obviously
I gotta
it's
watch
a
out.
significant part of your economy, and we pledged we were going to go back and reevaluate the travel advisories as they currently stand to ensure that they do reflect the reality of the new numbers and what the numbers show, because you've made very impressive progress in your general numbers overall when it comes to the murder rate and so forth. But in particular, those travel advisories are designed to American travelers. And I think we need to analyze that and just ensure that the status we're currently in accurately reflects the status quo and takes into account the progress you've already made this year and made last year, year over year, which I think is one of the highest numbers in terms of reductions that we've seen of any country in the region. We have to talk about security, and I think that the Prime Minister has phrased it in a way that I think is very beneficial, and that is, he used the term global war on gangs. Maybe we'll find some other phraseology in the United States to describe it, but we're talking about the same problem. It's amazing if you look across the region and really many parts of the world, how many of the threats we face in the world now that once came from a ideological terrorist organization or from a nation state are now coming from non-governmental criminal organizations who in some cases are more powerful than the governments in some of these countries. And we've confronted this issue. It's a challenge in Mexico. It's a challenge on the border between Venezuela and Colombia. It is the challenge.
Yeah, I
in
mean,
Haiti.
look,
And
these
it's been a challenge
countries
here.
know
And it's
that
a
some of their
multifaceted challenge.
fucking
They are
infrastructure
transnational
is being
for a number of
fucked
reasons.
up by
One, as an
people that
example,
they
is,
don't
and we've
like.
acknowledged this in our
And,
conversations that
and
lead
they
back to
know
my time
it's
in the
not
United
good
States
for
Senate.
them.
How many of the guns and the
And
weapons
they
that
just
are being
allow
used
it
by
to
gangs that
happen.
commit acts of violence here in Jamaica are purchased in the United States and then
Or
shipped
they're
here.
unable
We want
to do
commit
it.
doing more to stopping that flow at the same
They're
time as we do
unable
more
to
commit
deal with it
increasing
because
their
they don't have
capacity.
the
That's the other thing I
manpower.
underline. What we're talking about here when we talk about American assistance is America helping Jamaica build its
There are
own
tools
capacity, its own ability to
necessary
confront these
to
challenges
fucking
and
deal
solve
with
these problems.
the
Because security is a
fallout
baseline
and
for everything. And to that
the
end,
effects
we have
of it.
some good things to announce today here. We've the Jolt Fusion Center that is starting up again, and that's been even further strengthened. That's going to help address lottery scamming. We can announce this synthetics detection equipment for Jamaica's forensic labs. Another
Lottery
counter gang
scamming?
recruitment
Oh,
program
I thought
that
you
we
were
seek
talking
to
about
launch as
like
a
the
result of our visit here
catfishing,
today.
like
and announce something that I think is really important, and that is
the
software,
famous
intelligence
stars.
software
People
for
are
the
getting
law enforcement here in
catfished by
Jamaica
like
to combat gangs,
famous,
things like night vision
fake
goggles,
famous
false technology,
stars
and we look to do
in
more. And on that
hospital
end, let me
beds.
touch on a topic that we talked about just a little bit. Well,
The
let me
Brad
touch on one
Pitt.
topic, then I'll get to this final
The
one.
Brad Pitt
On,
one was
you
fucking
mentioned
insane.
upskilling and helping. How can
you be
it's
so
a topic we hadn't touched
fucking
on directly
stupid?
extensively before. We talked about it today. We seek to go back and find ways that we can partner to create opportunities for skills training so that if those companies, and we can attract those companies, if we can attract whether it's a logistics center or
Fucking
manufacturing
streamers get
to come to
that
Jamaica,
shit a lot.
there's a workforce
I think
that's been
Pokemon was
equipped with
the
skills
most
needed.
recent
And we face
one.
this challenge domestically as well. We need to do that ourselves. But there may be things that we can do in collaboration with one another. And this touches on the issue of aid, very controversial in the United States, but it's one of the reasons why I wanted to come here today, because it in many ways highlights exactly what our vision for aid moving forward is. The United States is not getting out of the aid business. We are going to be providing foreign aid. The difference is we want to provide foreign aid in a way that is strategically aligned with our foreign policy priorities and the priorities of our host countries and our nation states that we're partners with. In essence, how that would work, how it has worked in the past, is USAID or some other entity would come into a country and say, this is what we think you need. And then they go out and hire an NGO that maybe are the ones that convinced them that that's what you need, and they give them a bunch of money, and they come into the country, and they do things. Some of these programs are fine. They're nice things.
Yeah.
Other times, not so much. Nonetheless, that's how it used to be. How we want it to be in the future is that our embassies are involved with the host government, our hosts, our partners, and we ask them, what are your needs? And we provide assistance geared towards the needs of the nation states that are hosting us and that we're partnering with. At the end, our partner in Jamaica, our partner all over the world, is the government. It's the host governments who have a clear vision for the future. And to the extent that our foreign aid can be helpful, it is in furtherance of what the people of your country have elected you to carry out.
Yeah,
Here, there are a lot of things we've just...
Right, and that aid will be different to each nation because each nation's going to have different needs. And obviously, the U.S. embassies who are going to be helping will obviously have different kinds of works. I mean, they're all, it's the same framework, but it's going to be catered to working with, right, the host government.
Just describe some of them. What should our foreign aid be geared towards? It should be geared towards looking for opportunities to increase skills training, looking for opportunities to attract investment and business and trade, and looking obviously for opportunities to expand on your own domestic intelligence capabilities. We are going to have foreign aid that is aligned to our foreign policy, and our foreign policy is going to be aligned to our mutual shared interests.
Right, and obviously these people are asking for help.
Jamaica's an incredible partner of the United States. It's very cooperative on a number of fronts, and we will continue to work together.
People are trying to provide as best
because we are now
they
going to have
can.
U.S. programs for foreign aid that are going to be aligned with the vision that you've elected your leaders to carry out for your country, and that benefits us both. And so I thank you for the opportunity to visit with you here today and talk about these things. I'm excited that we're going to be able to follow up on a lot of them and show real progress. The message that I've wanted to send in my travels, I've had to travel.
So this is the foreign aid policy
making
of
wants to ensure that when countries are cooperative and work with us and partner with us and constantly seek ways to engage us, that leads to positive results.
Today's stuff, I guess now.
You can call it rewarding, but what it really means is it has to be a mutually beneficial relationship. And we want countries in the world and we want countries in the region to identify being close to the United States as something that is beneficial and helpful to develop, helpful to grow, and frankly helpful so that one day many countries can serve, and I think in Jamaica is already doing this, as a model of what other countries would seek to emulate, whether it's on security, on trade, on investment, on skills acquisition and improvement. These are the things that we want America's relationship with our partners to look like. And I can think of no better friend in the Caribbean and frankly in the Western Hemisphere than Jamaica and your government, Mr. Prime Minister. And so we thank you for this chance to visit with you so early. And as I joked a couple times, but I'll say it again, I think I told it to the cameras already, I wanted to come here early so when I come for the second and third time, they don't accuse me of only wanting to go to Jamaica. And but it in many ways it really truly feels like home and where I am in South Florida. And I thank you for your hospitality and this opportunity.
Good afternoon, Prime Minister Holness and Secretary Rubio. Thank you both for your remarks just now. We have several members of the media from Jamaica and the United States in the room with us this afternoon, but we'll only be taking 4 questions. And I ask that those who have been selected, that you please stand as you ask your question. And our first question is going to be from John Hudson of the Washington Post.
Washington Post.
Mr. Secretary, Republican Congressman Don.
He came with me. Don't take you to nice places.
Thank you for that. Beautiful weather, beautiful country. Much appreciated.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Mr. Secretary, Republican Congressman Don Bacon weighed in on the Signal chat breach, saying the White House is, quote, in denial that this was not classified or sensitive data. They should just own up to it and preserve credibility. Do you think that's true? Also, here in Jamaica, there are USAID employees at our embassy, like so many others around the world, on administrative leave, not carrying out the work of the American people. Do you worry that the DOGE effort won't ultimately end up benefiting U.S. taxpayers? And Prime Minister, violence and instability remains in Haiti. What would you like to see from the United States in terms of being a productive force? And a State Department envoy yesterday called the presence of Cuban doctors in Jamaica and elsewhere human trafficking. Do you agree with that? Thank you.
Let me take the first. I've already addressed the aid one, but let me address it again. This is not about getting rid of aid. This is about restructuring how we're going to do aid. And when you restructure, there's some disruption, but it has to happen. By the way, this is not an idea. This is an idea Condoleezza Rice wanted. This is an idea multiple secretaries of state throughout time have tried to achieve. And we intend to achieve it because we think it makes all the sense in the world. So I recognize that there's disruption involved when you make reform and you make change. But it's necessary because our foreign policy and our foreign aid have to be aligned. Foreign aid is an instrument of foreign policy. Okay? It is not a global charity. Jamaica's not asking for charity. They're asking for development assistance so they can become stronger at their security needs and other things of this nature. That's what they're asking for. They're not asking for a handout. They're asking for a hand up, help to build their capabilities so that they become a self-reliant partner and, frankly, could end up and already are helping other countries. I mean, Jamaica now is contributing to the effort in Haiti, as an example. So these are the kinds of things we want to see in our foreign aid. So, look, our goal was not to disrupt anyone's life. Our goal was to restructure the way we
it's
deliver
better
foreign aid
for
so
each
that it is
country
aligned
to,
with our
like,
foreign policy
try to
and
help
with
each
what we're
other
trying to
out
carry out at our
instead of
respective
trying to
missions around
rely
the
on
world.
one
On the first question,
fucking
let me just say,
country to
on
do
civil-
everything.
This thing was set up
Let's
for
don't do
purposes of
that.
coordinating how everyone was going to call. You know, when
You
these things
gotta-
happen,
you gotta
I need to call
just
foreign
fucking
ministers, especially
start
of our
off
close allies.
small.
We need to notify members of Congress, other
And
members of the
then
team
work
have different
towards a
people they need to notify as
better,
well. And that was the purpose of why it
stability.
was set up. Obviously, someone made a mistake. Someone made a big mistake and added a journalist. Nothing against journalists, but you ain't supposed to be on that thing. So they got on there and this happened. I've been, you know, so I can speak to myself and my presence on it. I think my role on it was, just speaking for my role, I contributed to it twice. I identified my point of contact, which is my chief of staff, and then later on, I think 3 hours after the White House's official announcements had been made, I congratulated the members of the team. I've been assured by the Pentagon and everyone involved that none of the information that was on there, though not intended to be divulged, obviously that was a mistake and that shouldn't have happened, and the White House is looking at it, but that none of the information on there at any point threatened the operation or the lives of our servicemen. And in fact, it was a very successful operation, and it's an ongoing operation. But that was the intent behind it, and again, I think the Pentagon's made clear that nothing on there would have endangered the lives or the mission, and the mission's been very successful.
Is it classified, the information?
Well, the Pentagon says it was not, and not only did they say it was not, they make very clear that it didn't put in danger anyone's life or the mission. There was no intelligence information. And understand, when this story first broke, there was
Yeah, I mean, even if you read whatever was in
this was a sort of
in the information,
description of what
it's
we could inform
basically nothing really.
Our counterparts around the world when the time came to do so. Again, look, I think the White House is looking at this entire thing. How did that journalist get on there? Why was this the appropriate? I think there'll be reforms and changes made. So
Yeah, I mean, the main thing is the journalist
But I want
thing,
everybody to
really.
understand why this thing was even set up in the first place, and also understand very clearly the mission was successful, and at no point was it endangered. And that's coming from the highest-ranking officials at the agency that was in charge of the actual operation, which is the Pentagon.
In terms of Haiti, the United States has been an incredible partner, in fact, the lead partner, in ensuring that resources and organization is brought to the crisis in Haiti. In terms of what more could be done, I think we're at a phase in Haiti where there has to be a rapid expansion of the Haitian National Police, the HNP, in terms of the manpower and resources, because ultimately the HNP has to take on the gangs. The present holding situation that we have is not necessarily moving the situation forward as we would all like. So there will have to be a significant expansion in resources in support of the HNP to enable them to take on the gangs. In terms of Cuban doctors in Jamaica, let us be clear. The Cuban doctors in Jamaica have been incredibly helpful to us. Jamaica has a deficit in health personnel, primarily because many of our health personnel have migrated to other countries. We are, however, very careful not to exploit the Cuban doctors who are here. We ensure that they are treated within our labor laws and benefit like any other worker. So any characterization of the program by others certainly would not be applicable to Jamaica. We are ensuring that our program complies with all the international laws and standards to which we are a party to.
All right, our next question will come from Tana Thomas from Nationwide News Network. Please stand.
Secretary Rubio, my question is for questions in relation to the matter of the Cuba Medical Corporation program as well. So the medical mission has been a cornerstone of healthcare in Jamaica and the Caribbean for over 50 years, according to our foreign minister. How does the U.S. reconcile its stance on this program with the region's reliance on
I don't know
Cuban
what the
medical
fuck is going
professionals,
on
and
in
what alternatives does
fucking
it
Jamaica
propose to ensure
or
healthcare?
the Caribbeans,
Yeah,
to
I
be
think the first
honest.
thing is to separate medical from the labor issues that we are pointing to. Okay, this is not about doctors. This is not about the provision of medical assistance. We have no problem with medical assistance. We have no problem with doctors. We have a problem, and I'm not speaking about Jamaica. We've discussed this today about following international labor standards and the like, but I'm just talking about this program in general, how it's operated around the world. And how it's operated around the world is that basically the doctors are not paid. in many other parts of the world, the doctors are not paid. You pay the Cuban government. The Cuban government decides how much of anything to give them. They take away their passports. They basically operate as forced labor in many places. Now, there are places that have better labor standards. Perhaps Jamaica is one of those, and that's fine. But
So
I'm
you're
describing
so
generally
this
what the program
this
has been.
basically
It has
this
operated in that way in
program
many parts
that
of the world, and places people in
operates
tremendous
to
danger.
get
So I think we can all agree that
doctors
labor,
from
be they
different
doctors or farm workers, is not something that we
countries
would
to
want
work in
be
these other
supportive of, and we
countries
find
and
that to
not
be an egregious
being
practice on the part of the
paid
Cuban
for
regime.
some
Now,
reason.
every country operates their
What
program
the
differently.
fuck?
And obviously, because of our relationship with Jamaica, we're going to engage with them on that and talk about it further and have a better understanding. Perhaps none of this applies in the way it's handled here, but generally that's the problem with the
is it
program.
because
It's
of
not
the
that they're
free
Cuban doctors.
healthcare
It's that the
system and all
regime
that
does not
shit?
pay these doctors,
Probably.
takes away their passports, and basically it is in many ways forced labor, and that we cannot be in support of. Again, not speaking about here in particular, but in general about the program.
Okay, our next question is going to come from Will Lowry from the National News.
Thank you so much for taking my question, Mr. Secretary. I just want to circle back to John's question, the signal chat.
The signal chat, yes.
But of course, are you planning on making the Europeans pay for U.S. operations against the Houthis, given that their businesses seem to benefit more from opening up these shipping lanes, as discussed in that chat? And then moving to Russia, Ukraine, I was wondering if you could elaborate on the Black Sea ceasefire deal and how it's progressing. President Zelensky has already questioned Russia's seriousness.
Apparently, they're getting going on the deal. They're still in talks.
So on the first question about, look, here's the problem, okay? These guys, these Houthis, these are pirates, okay? This is a band of, it's a gang, in essence. That's gotten control of a certain part, but these are a religious fanatic gang. And these guys have missiles, and they've launched 174 attacks against the U.S. Navy ships, 150-something attacks on commercial vessels. They are literally saying they've set up a toll system at the Red Sea. These ships can go, these ships can out. They don't blow up the Chinese ships, they don't blow up somebody, but they blow up all the other ships. This is not sustainable. And so I think the point that I've made publicly is we are doing a great favor to the world. The United States is doing a great favor to the world, going after these guys' capability of doing this. How can we live in a world where a group like this has advanced weapons, okay, and can shut down a shipping lane and increase the cost of shipping that we're all paying for? Everything we buy, all this stuff is embedded in the cost and in the price of these things is how much it costs to ship. And so that's just not a sustainable thing. We can't allow it. So I think the point I would make is not, we're going to make everybody pay. It's everybody should recognize we are doing the world a great favor going after these guys because this can't continue. This is unsustainable. What's next? Some gang's going to show up somewhere else and shut off another shipping lane? That's not practical.
Yeah, you don't want that. So, you already have some of that happening. Don't say that, Rubio. That's already happening.
Our negotiators are en route, or perhaps they've already arrived. After spending,
you got Somali butt pirates.
What we have here is an agreement in principle
you got these
on a Black Sea
Houthis.
ceasefire. We got two things from that. The first is we have more
you
detailed
might get
definition
some
of what the
pirates
energy ceasefire
down in
entails.
Asia.
And the second is
in
the principle
the
concept
islands.
of a Black Sea ceasefire. Obviously, after our meeting, as part of their release, the Russians
China
detailed
might
a number of conditions that they want to see met
get
in order to do that.
They
So we're
might
going to
pirate
evaluate
your
that. Some of those
ass.
conditions include sanctions that are not ours. They belong to the European Union. So we're going to be gathering and sort of when our folks get back, sitting down, going through the proposals, getting their impressions of the conversations, so we can more fully understand what the Russian position is or what their ask is in
The
exchange.
Russians might
and then we'll
get you
present that to
too,
the
man.
president.
You
We'll
don't know.
make a decision about what the
You'll
next
get
steps are. I think
Shanghai.
it's a good thing.
People are getting
that we
crimped.
have both the Ukrainians and the Russians talking about ceasefires, be they energy or be they
crimping.
potentially in the Black Sea.
That's
But
the word
obviously,
I was
this
thinking.
is hard and difficult work. This is a protracted almost 3.5-year war now, or 3-year war. It has a lot of framework of sanctions that have been built globally now that would have to be looked at as part of an ultimate end to a conflict. There's a lot of things that have to be worked through. And I certainly think the only way you're going to make progress on these things is by engaging with both sides, understanding their asks, their demands, and seeing what's possible. So we're going to have a chance now to sort of sit down as a team and evaluate when they arrive in detail how the meetings went with the Ukrainians, how the meetings went with Russia, what are the Russians asking for, what are the Ukrainians asked for, compare all that, and then make a decision on that basis about what comes next in this process. In the end, the goal here is peace. The goal is to end a war where people are dying. And I think everyone should be happy that the United States is engaged in a process of ending a war and bringing about peace. It's not going to be easy. It won't be simple. It'll take some time. But at least we're on that road and we're talking about these things. And we're going to test it and see what's possible. We think we owe that to the world. And the president, I continue to say, is the only leader in the world right now, President Trump, who's in a position to even get these two nations to a city to talk about these things, albeit in rooms far apart from one another when these talks are going on. But nonetheless, they're talking. It's the first time in a while that we've seen any conversation about this. But we have a lot of work yet to be done. And we'll know more after we get the readout from our teams.
Yeah, I was all like, look, you got to get these people to talk, whether it's fucking far away or in the same fucking room. If it's not in the same room, then it's far away. Like, yeah. It's like these people cannot be in the same room. They will probably be
last
upset
question
at
will
each
come from
other.
Andrea
They
Chisholm
will
from
probably try and
Television
kill
Jamaica.
each other or some shit. I don't know. You
Secretary
never know.
Rubio, given changes to U.S. immigration policies, there are some Jamaicans who are afraid to travel back to Jamaica, even though they are legitimate green card holders. What assurances can you give to those individuals that they will have no difficulty returning to the United States?
Well, yeah,
And
right, green card or residency? I mean, permanent residence. You're asking me about? Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And secondly, what problems, if any, does America have with China's investment in Jamaica?
Well, look, I mean, China's a rich and powerful country. Our problem with it is not investment. Okay, our problem is predatory practices. That's what we're concerned about. What we have seen all over the world is that China comes in and says, here's a bunch of money for a project they never build. They bring their own workers to do the work. They don't hire the locals. They bring their own workers. And oftentimes it comes attached with a huge loan that can never be repaid, and now they hold it over your head forever. That's our concern. Our concern is unfair practices, too, where they come in, they're government-subsidized companies, underbid everybody, because they're subsidized, but then they come back and charge you whatever they want because now they've got the contract. So these are the things that we remain very concerned about. Again, not specifically about Jamaica, but in general. And so that's what we'll continue to highlight. On the first point, I would say, let me talk about that. If you're a green card holder, you're not illegally in the United States. If you're a green card holder, you are legally in the United States. What the president has said, I don't know how anybody can disagree with this, every country in the world has immigration laws. And immigration laws, if you don't enforce them, you don't have immigration laws. Over the last few years, we've had, 13, 14, 15 million people enter the United States unlawfully and irregularly. No country in the world can assume that. By the way, that's not unique to us, right? Even here in Jamaica, you face challenges of migration. And it's not that we don't sympathize with people that are leaving difficult circumstances. It's that no society can absorb mass migration from anywhere in the world. You just can't do it. And we're facing that challenge.
Yeah, it's
That's
like there's no way in hell you can do that.
So
That's so dangerous to your own fucking country. You're asking your country to fucking eat shit if you do that. Don't do that.
The challenges for those who
like
are
these people have to be let in slowly. You can't fucking just
I don't know why that's an unreasonable demand.
ramrod all these people in that fucking don't know shit.
Or top 20 for that matter, I don't think. But that said, we are enforcing our immigration laws because
You're
here's
gonna
what
have
happens
a
if you don't.
fucking bad time.
You'll get another 12 million people. And if tomorrow Jamaica announced anybody who wants to come can come in, you're going to get a lot of people too, and you know it's going to be very disruptive. So we need to have immigration laws, and we need to
you
enforce
already
them.
see it all over fucking America, where you let some of these people in, you fucking causing riots in fucking New York.
In the United States, unless, and I say this because a lot of these people come, unless you're some
Colorado got fucked up by a
bunch
bunch
of terrorist organization and is running around in our streets like a lunatic, burning down buildings, and attacking students
by
at
that
universities.
gang.
If you're one of these lunatics that's going to put on a mask over your face and break into a student union center and harass students, and
not just Colorado, this is happening in other places
if you
too.
told us, I'm going to America not just to study at your university, but to tear up your campus, we would have never let you in. And if you do that, once you come into the United States, we're going to kick you out. We're going to do that. And I don't care what terrorist organization you're supporting, we're going to kick you out. If you're a gang member, we're going to kick you out. Okay? If you're one of these violent gang members that's coming to the United States, then we're going to kick you out. That we're going to do. There's no doubt about it. But the president's very committed to that. And but
yeah, it's like why are you fucking here if you're just going to cause problems? Get the fuck out.
Prime Minister Holness and Secretary Rubio, as we close today's press conference, I want to thank
Don't
you
cause
for
problems in your own
today. We thank
fucking
all of the
country
members
of
the
origin,
media
you
and all
piece
of the
of
other
shit.
guests who are here, and we wish you safe travels and a happy rest of the day. Thank you.
Only reason why you don't fucking do it in your own country is because your own country doesn't allow you to do your fucking illegal criminal activity. So then you try to do it in America. Like, get the fuck out. We don't allow that here either. You fucking piece of shit. Alright, there we go. Apparently we're gonna help out Jamaica a little bit. Budget disaster. City council brushing mayor. City broke. Oh yeah, Brandon Johnson. Yeah, Mayor Brandon Johnson.
If the CPI
of Chicago. Yeah, this guy's a fucking asshat and clown.
and school board, what happens if the CPS and school board, they don't send that payment, the $175 million reimbursement to the city?
And the CEO gave this body his word that he was going to do his job.
A few moments later.
The city of Chicago has a last-minute $175 million budget hole that it has to legally resolve in days.
This comes after Chalkbeat reported this weekend that the Chicago Board of Education would not have the votes to approve money to reimburse the city for this payment.
And we are
Protective
back, and we are
Services,
back,
by
y'all.
the way.
Thank you for watching today.
Go ahead and hit that like button, people.
It's a CPS
You know, it helps us out a
175
ton,
mil
and of
budget
course
bill.
It helps you because it helps us. Now, y'all, we've been following the Chicago drama.
Oh,
for
the Chicago
better part
public
of
schools.
A couple of months now, right?
I thought it was
and the
a
reason why
fucking
we're talking about Chicago is
Child Protective
because
Services.
Chicago is on the national stage right now. If you remember,
See, this is
at
why
the
you can't
beginning of
use
this
fucking
month,
acronyms
their
all the time.
esteemed,
'Cause,
illustrious Mayor
Fucking sometimes mean
Brandon
different
Johnson
things.
went before the United States Congress to explain why his city has a sanctuary city policy in which they're using the city's funds to help people that the federal government wants to kick out of the country. We call it sanctuary city, but they call it a welcoming city policy, where essentially they'll take hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. Some estimates put it up to $600 or more million over the past year, and then funnel that money into people who the federal government, well, we should say take that from their constituents, right? And then funnel it into people who the federal government would like to remove from the country. See, this has left Chicago with a huge budget deficit. It was at over $1 billion within the last year, and now they're trying to close that budget deficit, right? And it looks like they're about $175 million off. Now, what can you do with $175 million? I'll let you think about that. So what they've done is they've gone to the Chicago public schools and they said, hey, you know what? We've been paying out pensions to people, not your teachers, but we've been paying out pensions to non-teacher staff. And that's about $175 million. So we'd like to get that money back. Like, can we get that money back? And the CPS head said, yeah, I'll give you my word, right? Well, we got you. you know how it is when you lend money to somebody and they're like, I got you. I'll pay you back. I got you. And you're like, oh, I hope they pay me back because I really need that money.
What happens if the CPS and school board, they don't send that payment, the $175 million reimbursement to the city?
Then
By March 30th or March 31st, the deadline. What happens?
I want to believe that the CEO did not come before the city council and lie to them.
But logistically, I hate to press this, but logistically,
You don't have to
what
hate. I'm
happens?
just saying that he gave the city council his word.
Sure, I know, Mayor, but
So
what
you
will
want
happen
me
if we
to?
don't
So
get
you
it?
want me to answer that if the CEO?
No,
lied
basically,
to the
they didn't have another plan just in case that they would not get reimbursed. Yikes. Why would you put your hopes on this one program where you don't know if it's even possible? Right? See, this is the issue with inflation, too. I don't even know if they had that money anymore because of inflation. Or if anything, that 175 mil, yeah, it's probably gone.
city council, what's the contingency plan
Yeah,
around
'cause
someone
it's
being
in the hole,
dishonest?
right? Fucking it's gone, dude.
Call on the name of Jesus.
Call in the name of
that's what CPS
Yikes,
apparently
he's
said
using
to Mayor Brandon
religion.
Johnson.
Okay,
We
dude.
got you. Well, turns out they didn't got him, right? Turns
Yeah.
out that he had relied on the word of somebody. He had no plan B. Okay.
Yeah, no plan B.
Absolutely no plan B.
He had a
So
plan
has
A, but no B.
$175
Yikes.
million that he needs.
You should always have a
Somebody
backup
said, "Yeah, I
because
got
you're
you."
gonna get fucked.
And he didn't even think, well, what if this person, this one human, this one individual who needs the approval of a whole board full of people, he didn't even think to come up with a plan for what he would do. Apparently, okay, I don't know what he thought, but when he was asked, he didn't have a plan B, okay? So he didn't have a plan B for,
Yep.
well, what if just the word of somebody is not enough?
Whenever you have a
Okay?
plan
Well,
A,
guess
make
what?
sure you
The
have
word
a
of that
plan B
person was
just
not
in
enough
case.
because
'cause you
CPS
don't
is
know
not about to
because
send that
plan A isn't
$175
100%.
So let's take a look at this news report here.
Plan A is
Chicago
never
alders call on
100%.
Mayor Johnson to negotiate.
Plan A
new
is,
$175 million
if anything,
budget.
Plan A is
The
like
city of Chicago has a
75%,
last-minute $175
65%.
million budget hole that it has to legally resolve in days.
Well, it's
Political
probably a
reporter
little bit
Schultz
higher
has
than
more
that,
on how
but
this is creating new fault lines between the mayor
Yeah,
and city
it-
council.
you gotta think the worst
It's the
case
$175
scenario,
million
all right?
pension payment
You
political
might
hot
you
potato
might get some
that
issues.
nobody wants to pay.
So you want to have Plan B just in case, or a Plan C.
With them to find a resolution. The letter asked the mayor's office to work collaboratively to plug the new gap. Or,
having
quote,
one option and that's your only option is not good.
If any attempt to
Oh
exclude the
fuck,
concerns
man.
of Chicago
You fucked
taxpayers
yourself.
were to transpire.
I really think that, you know, what we're looking for here is for the mayor and for his whole budget or finance team to put it out in the open so taxpayers see where their money is being spent.
This comes after Chalkbeat reported this weekend that the Chicago Board of Education would not have the votes to approve money to reimburse the city for this payment, something a mayor was counting on. That means it's now on the city's books, and by law, those books have to be finalized by the end of March, in 6 days. But top Johnson ally, Council Budget Committee Chairman and 28th Ward Alderman Jason Irvin says it's just a matter of the mayor's budget people adjusting the books a bit.
Ultimately, this is an accounting issue. There's no need to go back to the legislative body. This is something that happened in the past. And just like any audit or accounting adjustment, that's what will happen.
Yep.
So you're saying city council doesn't have to come back and vote?
No.
The mayor and CPS CEO Pedro Martinez have been at odds for months on who exactly
Get
owes
audited.
this payment. Some council members are floating
You're
the
gonna
possibility
get audited.
of a special city council meeting
There's a
for
lot
Friday.
of people. There's a lot of
Paris
states who
Schutz,
should
Fox
be
32
audited.
Chicago.
So there's a budget hole, y'all. Why is there a budget hole? Because they spent the money, at least in part, because they spent the money on people that the federal government wants to kick out of the country. And also because the mayor took the word of some dude or some woman, some person, right? And did not make a plan B, apparently, for what would happen if that person who needed the approval of other
no
people,
Plan B.
if that person was
Whoopsies.
not able to uphold
Hee
their
hee.
word.
Hee
Let's
hee.
read.
Might as well
City
just
leaders
fucking
believed
get this
they
gun and
had
fucking stick it
balanced
right in your mouth, huh?
Chicago's budget for the year, but an unexpected $175 million shortfall has forced officials back to the negotiating table. The gap must be closed by the end of the week. Y'all, today is Wednesday, okay? Must be closed by the end of the week, the statutory deadline for finalizing budget accounting. The city had covered a payment into the Municipal Employees Annuity and Benefit Fund last year with the expectation that CPS would reimburse $175 million. However, over the weekend, 7 CPS board members signaled they would not approve an amendment to authorize the payment. 15 members of the Chicago City Council sent a letter to Johnson on Tuesday, urging the administration to collaborate with them on funding cuts to address the shortfall. The letter also warned that alders might take legislative action if the administration does not work with them. Y'all, can you imagine if they still had that 5, 6, 7, 800 millis that they spent, you know, not on their constituents? You know what I'm saying? Imagine if they still had 5, 6, 7, 800 million dollars that they spent on people who were not the people that voted for them. Imagine all the services they could provide. The summer job programs, the roads they could fix, the food assistance that they could give. Just imagine what they could do if they still had the 5, 6, 7, 800 milli that they spent on people who not only didn't vote for them, but who couldn't have voted. Y'all feel me? So now I'd like to hear your opinion. What do you think about this, y'all? I mean, did you see how the one person characterized it as just an accounting issue? Like $175 million that the city needs to balance its budget. It's just an accounting thing.
It's just an accounting.
So if you're in Chicago and you feel like you want additional services, or even just for the city to give the services that they promise, it's just an accounting issue. They just need to fix a little bit of accounting, and then they can help you out. I guess that's what they're saying. I'd like to hear what y'all have to say. Please do comment down below. But before you do, please stop. Hit the share button. Share this out with somebody over Facebook, WhatsApp, text message, email, Snapchat, Instagram, or all of the social mediums.
Added
and
a
of course, if you're not a
zero
subscriber,
or
please
taken
do subscribe.
away some zero.
Thank y'all for watching. Love y'all.
You know,
I'm
it
just gonna
happens.
I know
It
I've
happens.
played this before, but I'm just gonna let this play so y'all can see how we got here. Okay,
It
you've already seen it.
Seems pretty
You can watch
frequent with Tiffany Henyard, Fannie Willis, fucking Karen Bass.
Watch it again if you like,
Oh,
but
I
it's
don't
quite
know, man.
entertaining from my perspective. Appreciate y'all.
What happens if the CPS and school board, they don't send that payment, the $175 million reimbursement to the city?
Then
By March 30th or March 31st, the deadline. What happens?
I want to believe that the CEO did not come before the city council and lie to them.
Oh,
I want to believe that.
I want to believe, he
Logistically,
said.
I hate to press this, but
You want
You
logistically,
don't
what
have to
would
hate. I'm
happen?
just saying that he gave the city council his word.
Sure, I know, Mayor, but
So
what
you
will
want me
happen?
to? So you want me to? You
Right,
want me to
eh?
answer that if the CEO lied to the city council,
yeah, I forgot to
what's
say, yeah.
what's the contingency plan around someone being dishonest? Call on the name of Jesus.
Call him in the name of Jesus, yes.
Mayor, I know you're
Jesus,
sort of addressing his,
the
but let me
power of
follow up
Christ
and
will
just,
compels you.
double down on this question. We're hearing from some alders that the city's budget will come on balance if you don't get this $175 million bucks. You got to do something. And if from the public hearings, CPS decides to put their $139 million bucks towards the contracts, Chicago's $175 million in the hole. I mean, something's got to happen. So what do you do?
America's
Do you
in
go
a
to the school
hole.
board and ask
Chicago's
them to
in a hole.
take out a
New
loan
York's
or something?
in
I
a
think that's
hole.
illegal. But I mean, you've got to do something.
Basically,
to make
almost
up the
all the
hole.
blue states are
Well,
have
look,
a
I'm not
deficit.
going to-
Basically,
Go down a hallway or into a closet and discussing hypotheticals. He made a promise to
discussing
city council.
hypotheticals,
So it's
bro.
incumbent
You were
upon
doing
him
it first.
to keep to his word.
Oh, let's not discuss
If he doesn't,
You
what if he doesn't?
motherfucker, you
You've got a
started
couple of
it.
weeks. And
You are
there
the
is
biggest
a
hypothetical
significant dollar
motherfucker
figure here
ever.
that's going to have to be
Piece
dealt
of
with
shit.
with your budget if they don't come through with the money.
Yeah, so again, the CEO stood in front of members of the city council and made a commitment to do what the school board ultimately has to prepare to do at a more significant scale as we work to disentangle the relationship between city government and Chicago Public Schools. The CEO's responsibility to make sure that the retirement is secure for the workers of the Chicago Public Schools, that is their responsibility, and that's going to continue to be a growth because eventually in a couple of years there will be full disentanglement. So it's a good muscle to build.
Forgive me, Mayor, but I mean, that doesn't answer the question of what the city will do if the CEO does not come through with that money. I mean, maybe he promised it, but that doesn't change the situation if they don't come through and pay it.
Well, look, as I've said repeatedly, and our chairman of the budget committee has made it very clear that you're asking us what we're going to do if someone goes back on their word. That's what your question is.
Someone comes back.
And what
on
we're
their
saying is that
Brother,
he gave his word.
this guy
And so
has-
if you're
he
asking
was
me
not gonna help
to
you.
guess
The
if
fact
someone
that
is
you
going to go
thought
back
he
on
was
their
gonna help
word,
you, like,
I
get the
understand you
fuck
feel
outta
like
here.
that's not answering the questions.
Yo,
But
Dream,
what I'm
you
simply
my
saying
bromie.
is you're
You sound
asking
like
me to
Brandon
answer a
Johnson,
question
the
about
Chicago
whether or not
faggot
someone is
mayor.
telling the truth.
Fuck off.
Well, I mean,
Jeez.
look, there's no secret that there are challenges that budgets are experiencing all over the
All right,
country.
what a filter.
You know, what's most
I
important in this
fucking hate
moment is
this fucking
our
piece of
budget
shit, along with Fannie
chair,
Willis, and
along with our
along with all
education
these
chair,
Democrat
has spoken
fuckheads
directly to the CEO,
who
and the CEO
love
gave
stoking
this
the
body
flames of criminal
his word
activity.
that he was
Who
going to
love
do
the illegal
his job.
immigration that's
And
happening.
so we fully expect
Who
the
love
CEO
getting
to
fucking
hold to his word,
citizens getting got,
especially to the people that
by
he
these
made the
fucking
promise to. Thank you all
retards.
very much.
I hope you all find a nice fucking time in hell. All these motherfuckers deserve hell. Scott Jennings, roasted Jasmine Crockett.
I don't know how the Democrats came to appoint Jasmine Crockett as the unquestioned leader.
Really?
Of your party, but thank God And I think what she should do is go on TV twice as much as she is right now, maybe 3 times as much.
Shame.
Because every time she
Shame.
appears and makes one of these mistakes, says something radical, it only further divides her party from the rest of the other 80% of America who can't stand this.
No! No! No!
But the problem is there's an audience for it. I heard Jimmy Kimmel's audience cheering on Tesla. I hear the Daily Show audience cheering on Elon Musk. I hear the human rights audience cheering on a man in a wheelchair.
Yeah!
And I realize this is what the left has become. An angry mob of people who are cheering on a guy in a wheelchair and against people who bought a Tesla. It's pathetic. No lesson could ever be learned as long as you're doing these things in front of audiences who roar when you do it. When you have comedians who are broad messengers for the left making unfair jokes and people are roaring. When you have politicians being vulgar.
She's just like, that's not fair,
What's the
man.
lesson?
That's not fair.
We're trying.
What's the audience? It says a lot about the audience.
But no, but
Oh, yes, we can. We totally can. Fuck off. Eat shouldn't die, bitch. Oh no, Jesus. No, why? God damn it. This is fucked up.
We will not be silenced. The silent riot has begun.
Odor?
We will not be silenced.
Odor?
The silent riot.
We should hold the door.
Because we in these hot ass Texas streets, honey. Y'all know we got Governor Hot Wheels down there. Come on now. And the only thing hot about him is that he is a hot ass mess, honey.
I will not be adding any further details. Where is Luigi? I have a list for him.
It's not something we want to do. There's already been some murder for hire stuff. Don't do that. Just got Ellen bit 2 security guards and called one the N-word as she was kicked out of rugby competition. Jesus.
Take a look at the percentage of the country who say that we're on the right track. It's actually a very high percentage when you compare it to some historical numbers. What are we talking about? According to Marist, 45% say that we're on the right track. That's the second highest that Marist has measured since 2009. How about NBC News? 44%. That's the highest since 2004. The bottom line is the percentage of Americans who say we're on the right track is through the roof.
Some of the people in my comments keep telling me that it's gay to date men, but I'm a trans girl. So it's not gay for me to date men. Actually, it means I'm straight. Checkmate.
Sell crazy someplace else. We're all stocked up here.
Y'all ain't gonna silence us. The silent riot has just begun.
Have a heart on my forehead, good for you. He has a he has a penis. The cat has a penis shaped. All right. See what we got.
Everyone knows that getting rid of the deficit will require some tough decisions. And that includes cutting back on billions of dollars in programs that a lot of people care about. But what should be easy is getting rid of the pointless waste and stupid spending that doesn't benefit anybody.
Oh, D!
Waste we should be getting rid of, even if we
No,
didn't have a
don't
deficit.
say that.
Sure, some of these cuts aren't that big, but no amount of waste is acceptable. Not when it's your money. Not at a time when so many Americans are already cutting back. Just as families are living within their means, government should too. Did you know the federal government pays for a website devoted to a folk music ensemble made up of forest rangers?
Hey, what?
They're called the Fiddlin' Foresters.
Huh.
I'll put their music on my iPod, but I'm not paying for their website. And there are hundreds of similar sites that we should consolidate or just get rid of.
Interesting.
By the way, you're not
So
only paying
the
for
government
websites
just
no one
buys
needs.
up a bunch
you're paying
of
for
domains
thousands
and
of buildings
websites
all
for no
across the
reason.
country no one uses.
Yeah.
That's exactly the answer I wanted.
For the last decade, the government's owned a massive and completely empty warehouse in the middle of Brooklyn, for example. Now, the government hadn't been able to sell this building and others like it because of red tape and Washington politics that held things up for years.
No!
Yeah, sounds about right.
But we're finally cutting through all that and plan to get rid of these buildings in the months ahead. We need to step up our game. We need to go after every dime. We need to make government work for you.
There you have it. I wanted cheaper eggs? Uh-oh. Kill Satan draws immediate protest from the left. Uh-oh. Kill Satan? How could you? Yeah, no, Satan's real. I guess the devil's red dick is gonna smack you in the face. You really saw my part, or did you let someone do it for you with some kind of auto pen? If Elon buys Pfizer, and liberals become anti-big pharma. Dozens of leftist billionaire oligarchs are good for democracy, and Trump's one billionaire oligarch isn't. God damn. Yeah, like Nancy Pelosi, I think, is the richest person out of all these people. Yeah. Is that Adam Schiff right here? Yeah. voters too smart to fall for Democrat lies.
The educational authority should be at the state level. I think that it was a dubious constitutionality that the Department of Education was created to begin with. And a lot of the funding that comes from the Department of Education comes with strings attached, comes with woke ideologies that are being shoved down parents' throats, students' throats, and the state's throats. And I'm excited to see it end.
Give me a break. You can't actually send $100 billion to schools throughout the country without having somebody answering the phone. I want more than a, oh, don't worry about it, guarantee that kids in America are going to get the $100 million of funds they get right now.
What I'd like to say to Randy Weingarten is she didn't seem all that concerned about money flowing in when she had schools closed down during COVID.
That's true.
This is devastating. At the end of the day, they are trying to starve this agency and bring it to its knees one way or another. I don't think that this is a partisan thing. This is evil versus good.
Won't somebody please think of the children?
So we're ranked number 40 out of 40 schools. We're ranked number
you guys
one in
closed
cost per
down
pupil.
schools for like a couple years. What are you doing? For like a year, nobody was going to school. At least nobody was getting homeschooled or some shit. I don't know. Shit went downhill. College terrorist smashes a Charlie Kirk employee with a bike lock. Oh yeah. I saw some of this shit going on.
That's full assault.
Watch out. Oh shit.
Violent lefty goofballs
That looked
are
like a
at it
trans
again at
person.
our colleges, and they're using the weapon of choice. Their own poop? That's weird. No, well, I don't know. Who knows? Lefties, boys. Now they're using bike locks. Remember this attack right here? 7 years ago. 7 years ago. The mostly peaceful, tolerant, inclusive and loving Antifa brained a college professor Antifa lunatic brained a dude with a bicycle lock. Here
Oh
he
yeah, I
is
remember this.
on the ground bleeding out. Antifa wants more blood. I want more blood. Look, he's got Obama's shirt back there. Yeah, Obama started it all.
Yeah,
of
it's
this.
like these people trying
there
to
you
assault
go.
people like that. Don't do
you
that.
have tried to murder somebody.
Oh,
and that's
and
not
then
good enough. Bam, there it is right there.
you do that
There
shit.
it is right there. Happens so quickly. But that bike lock is steel. I mean, it's just steel. It's the whole point of a bike lock, boys.
Yeah,
And,
black.
it's
yeah,
in a backpack, I
wha-
believe.
Yeah, this is why you wear. a
And the
helmet.
lunatic
You're gonna get smacked by a fucking
swipes
bike
out there,
lock.
hits him right in the head. The guy in the red right here, watch him. He's going to get brained in 3, 2, 1.
Right there.
it is,
Oh
bam.
yeah, this dude in the back
By,
right there
this
just bike locks him.
cowardly thug right there. College professor, they found that idiot and arrested him. Eric Clanton, former California professor. He's now been promoted. And he's now over at Stanford, probably. Stanford prison, arrested violent. I like it. Look at this. Look at this. And violent. It was mostly peaceful. Right? Most of the
Oh,
bike
yeah.
lock didn't fracture
Jesus.
his skull. Idiot! Who's this? Can we? I want to arrest Jessica over here. Jessica, you're also under arrest, aiding and abetting felonious lunatics who are attacking people with bike locks. And so it's happened again. You've got Charlie Kirk on college campuses, and he pulling gigantic, big league, huge crowds. And of course, the lefties are like, oh my God, can't have this. And not God, by the way, they hate God. Oh my Moloch, can't have this.
Oh
and,
my
bringing
Muhammad.
out weapon of choice and attacking these people. Yeah.
Oh my Moses.
Conservatives are under attack. It's been going on for 7+ years. You just saw it in the other article over there. And it doesn't seem to be calming down. So I imagine it's going to probably ramp up. If you're on one of these college campuses, if you're off a college campus, you're going to need some armor colostrum. Get in the gym. 400+ functional nutrients. Drink this up. Strengthen yourself. Strengthen your immunity. Get healthy. Because these people want you dead. You guys know that I'm always on the lookout to improve multiple facets about myself, my gut health, my immunity, this fabulous head of hair that I got on top of my head. Honestly, most importantly is my fitness level. As I'm approaching 50, it is harder and harder to hit the gym like I used to. The days of going in for 2 hours, 5 days straight a week has been long passed over without me feeling like I've been run over by a Mack truck. So I'm glad that we found Armor Colostrum over here. This is helping speed up my recovery so I can get back into the gym and work out like I was 30 again. This is what I'm personally using, the Performance Revival Jar, to help refuel my lean muscle, strengthen my immunity, and increase my power, endurance, and recovery. They also have another product over here called Immune Revival. Comes in multiple flavors, and the people taking this are reporting that some of the benefits they're receiving are less bloating, improved their lean muscle mass, strength, and endurance, reported less heartburn and reflux, and grew thicker hair. Here at the Salty Towers, we worked out a special offer for my audience. Receive 50% off your first order. Go to tryarmor.com/salty to get 50% off your first order. That's tryarmor.com/salty. So let's take a look at what this stunning and brave. I don't know if a human born female at birth would dress like this. I think this is more of look at me. Noticing a little bit of 5 o'clock shadow over here, but there's the bike log right here in question. You've got the city's got a bunch of bike logs.
Yeah.
Don't steal my bike, bro. And then you've got
whenever you see someone with a fucking metal object like that, and it's a bike log, be
pedaling
careful.
away very, very slowly. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Wild. After braining somebody over here, braining one of Charlie Kirk's people. There you go. Yeah. Look at me, I'm super duper smart. I'm here at the college university. Yeah, but you don't know.
Yeah, that's not very smart to do that at college university that you
not
go
complicated.
to.
We've had bikes for hundreds of years. The Egyptians and Wakandans invented bikes. They're totally fine.
Could that assault someone like that?
There you go, full assault. And then there's some more.
That's full assault.
Gonna throw the bike at him.
That's full assault.
This is wild. Just did. Chapter President Paige Newman and her Secretary Grace were just assaulted while tabling at the University of Texas, Dallas. I was wondering if this goofball's been expelled, but that's too good. You got to be. I imagine Charlie Kirk's people know you got to press charges. You're expelled because you've missed so many classes because you're in prison. The attacker took a metal bike lock and slammed it against Paige's head, hitting her so hard that it completely shattered Paige's phone. It's unclear if the perpetrator was female or female plus.
Female, yeah. I mean, look, given what this person's wearing, like, what? Come on. This is a fucking dude.
It against Paige's head, hitting her so hard that it completely shattered Paige's phone. It's unclear if the perpetrator was female or female plus. Thankfully, Paige and her chapter VP Grace, whose phone was also destroyed, are both physically doing okay. TP USA students are at the tip of the spear on college campuses.
A she-male? Yeah.
You guys are doing a lot of great work. The ground game of Charlie Kirk and TP USA is a gigantic factor that mitigated all of the fortification that the Democrats have been doing at college campuses, which impacted our 2020 election, some would say. But wild times. And when the cops, this is Dallas, we have to get some sheriffs involved. It should not be remotely difficult to find Zimzerb.
Zimzer. It's true. You shouldn't. It shouldn't be hard to find this person if they're gonna dress like this. Especially if they ride a bike like that and then go around fucking attacking people.
At all. I mean, this is. It would be insulting that this would be a hard person to find. Go to the University of Dallas, Texas Pride page, and you can probably find this individual. But like just some sort of assault and battery. That's a deadly weapon.
Yeah.
You swung a metal pipe. That's essentially a metal pipe.
Yes.
You swung a metal pipe at somebody's head.
Correct.
That's again, play stupid games, win stupid prices. Win stupid prices? Is this the Price is Right, Abe? The price is wrong. That's assault with a deadly weapon. That's the charge that we're looking for over here. We might have to get sheriffs involved because I gotta imagine the local PD is probably going to roll. It's Dallas. They're probably going to roll up in a rainbow cruiser. They're going to find some sort of stupid electric Chevy Volt painted rainbow to go take a report.
Yeah, they're gonna play a
there
pride
you go.
song
We've
as
seen
they
this. We've
blare
seen
it
this
out
one
to
before.
everyone.
Seen this one before, right there. And when you don't give people life in prison for trying to brain somebody, then they continue to do it.
Yeah, for some reason, this person
scumbag.
didn't get that much time.
Scumbag.
Yeah, that person didn't get that much
How
time.
many wild? What does this idiot get? Suspicion of assault. Look at that. Look, suspicion of assault with a deadly weapon. Whoa! That's in Berkeley, man. Yeah, get him. Get it. Get it. Get it. Yeah. Clanton is suspected of violent assaults on 3 people, by the way. That idiot attacked 3 people. I thought it was just 1. But here's the child of the
Here's the child. Yeah, I don't know about that one.
Yeah, you're going to prison, idiot.
That's a
Don't
dude.
worry. I'm sure they've got gender study hour
Gen-
in the prison library.
Yeah,
where
gender identity studies,
adult
gender
coloring
studies.
books and your therapy Play-Doh time. Lunatic. There you go, boys. They braining people out there. Thank you so much to today's sponsor, Armra Colostrum, for
Yeah, as soon as these
video.
people try to swing
Check
at
them
you
out
like
because
that,
we're under
you
assault.
stab them in
You
the
want to get
face.
healthy. You want to get strong. You want to be able to take a bicycle lock to the head, stand right back up, and choke one of these fools out.
Yeah,
While you wait for the
literally.
rainbow police car to
If
show
someone
up
tries to
arrest
fucking
them.
swing on
Hey,
you
guys,
like
thanks so
that,
much
you
for watching
fucking
this.
you trip
These
them.
lunatics on these
You
college
make them
campuses.
hit
That
their
subscribe button
fucking
and make
head
way,
on the
because
fucking
assault
floor.
must flow.
You make them eat the asphalt. Make them eat the cement. You make sure they put their teeth on the cement. And you stomp down. I'm sorry.
You know, Sheriff, I'm sure that even these criminals are thinking, wow, I'm getting off easy. I'm lucky here. Is there something that we're missing here?
Yeah, I know, right? There's a lot of criminals getting off easy. Claim they were randomly punched in the face by strangers while walking in NYC. Must rely on immigration to compensate for falling birth rate. Yeah, I don't know about that one. That's hard to say. Yeah, I don't know about that one, Chief. There are just 3.2 million white Englishmen living in London, making up just 36.8% of the population. Well, everyone's moving out of England or London. Why does an Englishman want to live in London when they're getting fucking shackled or shellacked, right? Sounds bad. Austrian migrant gang rape. Horror girl, 12, passed around like a trophy by more than a dozen boys during horrifying repeated sex attacks in Vienna.
Joining us now is Josh Hammer, Senior Editor at Large at Newsweek. Josh, thank you for joining us. I want to talk to you about Doge. We are just seeing the ugliest attacks against Elon Musk, and it's amazing to see what people are actually...
Sorry. Let me... Polizia! Polizia! The Gestapo is letting this happen, by the way. I'm kidding, I'm sorry.
Joining us now is Josh Hammer, Senior Editor at Large at Newsweek. Josh, thank you for joining us. I want to talk to you about Doge. We are just seeing the ugliest attacks against Elon Musk, and it's amazing to see what people are actually protesting against. Today, Elon gave another example of what Doge has been finding, and that includes $330 million in SBA loans to children under 11, including a 9-month-old baby who received a $100,000 loan.
Hey, what? I'm sorry, excuse me? A 9-month-old baby? How does that happen? Excuse me?
How about new, you crazy Dutch bastard?
A clear case of fraud was with the Small Business Administration, where they were handing out loans, $330 million worth of loans to people under the age of 11. I think the youngest, Kelly, was a 9-month-old who got a $100,000 loan. That's a very precocious baby we're talking about here.
How dare Doge expose this? I suppose this is what the left want to see more of.
Yeah, I mean, just giving away money, you know, as if it's just like a piece of paper or a pencil or some sort of widget to give away. I mean, what could possibly go wrong here?
Well, I mean, money is technically paper.
Holman announcing that 370 illegal immigrants were recently arrested, with a majority of them
just
being,
that paper
quote,
does have a
significant
value that the
criminals
government
with
has
charges
attached
including
to it,
murder,
and people have
drug
attached a value
trafficking,
to it.
and child sex crimes. Holman writing in a
Because
lengthy
that's what our
ex-post,
government
I made
has
a
done to
promise
it.
at CPAC that I was going to Boston after reading about numerous illegal alien child rapists walking the streets of Boston and Massachusetts. ICE had to find and arrest these illegal alien rapists because Massachusetts and Boston are sanctuaries that refuse to cooperate with ICE. They would rather release these animals back into their community rather than honor ICE detainers or notify ICE when they are scheduled to be released.
Blue states.
Mayor Wu later testified that I was lying.
Even though
Just
that
take a
they,
look at the people that
some
the
of these states
state
went
of
red.
Massachusetts, the city of Boston, have allowed back onto the streets. A Guatemalan charged with 3 counts of aggravated child rape, released on $7,500 bail.
Oh, look at
Another
that.
Guatemalan charged with
Oh, look at that! Would you look at that? The more criminals who have been let out. Oh my gosh. Allah Akbar. Boom! I'm just kidding. Sorry. The Mudahars of the universe are coming after you. I'm so kidding. I'm so sorry. God damn it.
aggravated child rape of a victim aged 9 or younger, released on $7,500 bail. A Honduran charged with assault to rape, masked armed robbery, released on his own recognizance, 0 bail, and the list goes on and on.
No,
When an illegal alien rapes a woman, do you believe you're on the right side of history? Mayor Wu, yes or no?
No. Oh, no, stop.
Obviously, why are you letting rapists back out onto the streets of Boston?
That is not true. That is not what's happening in Boston.
You know, Sheriff, I'm sure that
That's
even
not
these criminals
true.
are
That is
thinking,
not
wow,
true.
I'm getting off easy. I'm lucky here. Is there something that we're missing here as
Oh,
to
no,
why
Mayor
this
Wu's
is
a
happening?
commie.
What is your
Through
reaction
and through.
to that list that I just read?
She's got that Marxist ideology in her.
Well, that's exactly
Also,
what
she
Tom
came from
Homan's been
China.
talking
She's
about.
a Chinese
that's what all of
spy.
us in law enforcement have understood. But
I'm
not these
sorry.
politicians
God
like
damn it.
Michelle Wu, the mayor of Boston, who frankly is more interested in her personal benefits than she is in her public service. Look, she was elected like the rest of us.
To be honest,
It
I
took
don't
her
even think
to uphold the
she
rule of
came.
law.
I think she was
And what they're
born on
doing is
American
she's
soil.
creating
I don't
this-
even think
this
she came
cover
from China.
For criminals to come here, illegal aliens to come here and know that they're going to have a less likely chance of being identified. And it isn't just about Boston's crime. What about all the neighboring communities? They're going to lay low in Boston because they're going to get the cover they need, but then they go to these neighboring communities and commit more crimes.
He said this: majority of the 370
Yeah, I mean, if
being
these
significant criminals.
if these people keep perpetuating more crime, why not just fucking kick them out with the criminals? I say they get deported or jailed together. We jailed them together, yes.
He's talking about what happened over in Massachusetts. These arrests include 8 foreign fugitives, including 4 who are wanted for murder or to serve on a criminal sentence for murder, along with drug traffickers, child
Not only
sexual
we
predators,
jail
and
them
numerous other
together,
violent
but
public
we
safety threats. So this
fucking chain
was a
them
collection of
together.
illegals,
So
lethal
they
illegals
basically
all
have
over in
to
Massachusetts.
play. They basically have to play It Takes Two.
I
Hardcore.
was encouraged to see the
But in
governor
prison.
saying we're not a
Prison-
sanctuary state.
the
Right? You know,
prison,
it's Boston, it's a sanctuary
It Takes
city.
Two
But
style.
we're not a sanctuary state. They were proud of the way they work with
So
us.
the administration changed up the strategy a little bit when it came
Or
down to
what-
this
wait,
bus.
what was that
Remember
other game
in
that was
Boston,
fucking,
the mayor provoked Tom Oldman.
with the 2 criminal guys and
essentially
you-
said you're not welcome in the city. What the administration
Oh,
tried
I
to do to
forgot.
begin with was to
was
have
another co-op game.
media along on these ride-alongs to show the public what was going on. Well, leaks started to happen. So Tom Oldman put a complete blackout on this, and he didn't even release this until days later. But this is what they found when they were in Boston right there. You got a Dominican alien charged and arrested with multiple drug distribution crimes and fentanyl trafficking, a Brazilian alien charged with manslaughter, DUI, homicide, breaking and entering and larceny. You got a Honduran
Hey, there's a Chilean dude, a Brazilian, a Honduran, another Brazilian, another Brazilian, a Russian. Oh my God, they're all over the place. A Dominican dude. Oh
That is not
wow.
true. That is not what's happening in Boston.
Who would have
is due
thought?
process for an
Oh, there was
illegal
some
alien
Chinese people
accused
at
criminal?
one point.
Well, you are
There was
entitled to a court
there was
hearing.
some
However,
Venezuelan
if you
guys.
have
There's
the
some
Alien
Mexican
Enemies Act, you are
people.
allowed to
Yeah.
go over
Well,
that
it
because
seems
it's
like there's a
considered a wartime act. And
demographic of
President
all
Trump, the argument
kinds of
is
fucking
there's an invasion.
motherfuckers
One of the
coming
arguments
into
is
the
Trinidad
goddamn
Nicaragua wants to
country. It
establish
seems.
territorial integrity in the country.
Oh, but
Therefore,
no,
we're
you're
exempt from
racist
providing
for
that due
pointing
process.
this
It's a
out.
colorful
Stop being
argument. Has only been
racist.
used 3 times, but maybe it will be used here.
Because I have common sense.
I guess I'm racist
First,
then.
they
Oh, so
cursed,
fucking
now they
too
thirst
fucking
for
bad,
blood.
I guess.
Jasmine Crockett is upping her temper
Too
tantrums,
fucking bad.
now saying the only way Democrats can win elections is by throwing hands.
I think you punch. I think you're okay with you okay with punching. It's Ted Cruz. I mean, like, this dude has to be knocked over the
Oh,
head.
I don't give a fuck. I'd
like,
punch a woman in the
hard,
face.
Right? Like, there is no niceties with him. Like,
If
at
that
all.
woman
Like,
is
you
acting like
go
a dude,
clean
hey,
off on
that's not
him,
my
right?
fault.
Something is so ghetto.
So much for Michelle Obama's when they go low, we go high. Crockett went as low as humanly possible by mocking Governor Greg Abbott for being paralyzed.
We in these hot Texas streets, honey.
Yeah, I still find this
Y'all know
so
we got
weird to
Governor Hot
fucking
Wheels
change
down
up
there.
her
Come on
accent
now.
just to do this ghetto shit.
Yo,
It's
Hot
like,
Wheels.
Come on, dude. What are you doing?
And the only thing hot about
Why,
him
why
is
are
that
you
he
acting
is a hot
ghetto?
mess.
You're not happy.
So,
But you're supposed to
ratchet.
stop with the stereotypes,
Crockett now
right?
claim-
You're supposed to break the cycle, not keep perpetuating the cycle. Okay, what are you doing?
James Hot Wheels was about shipping migrants out of the state. Don't you get that? Not the
Yeah, it
governor's
happens every
condition.
time. People
if only
keep
there was video that
fucking
perfectly encapsulates the liberal
keep
inability
playing into
to
the
land a lick on
stereotypes for
MAGA.
some reason. It doesn't
Turns out we
make any
have one.
sense.
Roll it, Bjorn.
Oh, this is here it is. Here it is. I'm guessing this guy's Mexican, and then this white bitch tries to fuck with him. Just like, get the fuck away from me, and then in the
Daddy, chill. Every single day, more money is pouring into our country, which will create more jobs for hardworking Americans. Today, Schneider
Fucking
Electric
eat shit.
pledged to invest more than $700 million in the United States to boost American energy infrastructure and AI. On Monday, Hyundai announced a $20 billion investment in the United States, including $5.8 billion for a new steel plant in Louisiana, which will create nearly
Cubanos are
1,500
coming.
high-paying jobs.
Now that's what I'm talking about.
Bella.
Hi, Frankie. It's Daddy.
Oh, that's it.
Hi.
Come back in the house.
Stress reliever. The Doges.
Go to your kennel.
Jesus, that fucking. I'd be sketched out with that fucking dog with a knife in his fucking mouth. Motherfucker, a Sif. All the way, all the more reason to be more sketched out. All right. Oh, there you go. Noxious to YouTube.